Well, here's some of the sounds, see if you can pick it up a little bit. But I thought I saw, watching the news conference, and you could see almost like his eyes well up a little bit talking about Frank Reich. I mean, that's how a big of a relationship they have, how important he is in his life and his football career. So that was kind of cool to see and hear from Nick Foles. So happy Wednesday, everybody. Brent Martineau, former Jags player, Austin Lane, Coos is here. You guys all survived the chicken eating contest?
We did, yeah. I mean, well, at least I did. Coos, you all right? Did you face any major backlash?
No, I just realized I don't have my headphones, so I'm doing okay.
Oh, okay. Wendy's didn't come to my house or anything like that, Brent, so we're good at that angle.
I was curious.
How are you doing, though, man? More importantly, how are you doing right now with the college football rankings? Because I saw them come out, and I immediately thought of you.
Did you really?
I really did.
I've got Jay Bilas talking on tweeting back. Well, I tweeted at him, in fairness. Okay. I give him credit.
Did he?
I got the Alabama fans.
Did Jay Bilas, respond to you?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah.
I didn't. All
right. Well, basically, I said to him, I give him credit for responding, too. I didn't know if he would. I'm sure he gets a million tweets, right? I like Jay Bilas, too.
Yeah.
And let's see, I got to go way back. I guess I've had a lot of interaction with this whole thread. And I said last night, because I was listening to him in the game.
Okay.
Basketball game.
Yep.
By the way, how about Evansville beating Kentucky? That might be balling and falling.
That's definitely my balling and falling. The purple
I don't know
aces?
which one. The purple aces.
Oh, man.
And so anyway, I'm watching a little college hoops, doing some work, and I said, hey, Jay Bilas, I love you, but Georgia absolutely should be ranked ahead of Alabama. Who has Bama beaten? Georgia's beaten Florida and Notre Dame, yet to allow more than 20 points in a game. And then, here come the Crimson Tide. Yeah. Roll Tide.
Yeah.
You guys, you people, you Alabama people.
Okay.
Which, again, I'm not an Alabama hater.
Careful now. I feel like they're a pretty big nation.
I'm not an Alabama hater.
Okay.
Now, should I readily admit if you did a lie detector test, do I have a little bit of fatigue on Alabama? Probably like the Patriots, same thing. Yeah, I get it. I like to see different people have been in the mix. So the Alabama people came out and said, of course, we're the best and we lost to LSU and all this stuff. So again, it's a fun back and forth. I like it. But anyway, Jay Bilas said, let's see, what did Jay Bilas, after I tweeted at him, he said, did he say anything? Georgia hasn't beaten South Carolina, who hasn't beaten half the teams in its schedule. Georgia was behind Alabama last week. Nothing happened to change the status of the two as to each other. Nothing. And I can respect Jay Bilas's thought. See, what he was trying to claim is what jumped. It doesn't matter what you believe, which is kind of where I'm coming from more so. Like, I believe Georgia should be on the grand scheme of things. But he's saying what changed from last week to this week to jump Georgia ahead of Alabama is what he's saying. And most people would say, well, Alabama lost.
Correct.
But now if you match losses, what did Georgia do? Well, Georgia won, but it's not like they beat Auburn last week and got this huge win. Yeah. And so now they're saying, now you go and you look at the losses. What everybody gets so carried away in is the losses, and it's fair to point out. I'm not taking that away. I'm not dismissing it. But how about the wins? I mean, shouldn't the wins matter for something too? Like who you're beating? And it's like, okay, if we play every JV team on the schedule, it's okay. But as long as we didn't lose to South Carolina, we lost to a good team, LSU. Yeah. You're all right. But that doesn't work for Minnesota. So then why isn't Minnesota ahead of Georgia? From your same point of view, if you think Alabama should be ahead of Georgia, then you should also think Minnesota should be ahead of Georgia. Simple as that.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I'm hot on it. No, and now I got the Alabama people after me. I mean, Ryer's after me. The Ryer brothers are after me.
So
Bill Edwards is here. I mean, I got them all.
Everyone's coming to the party, man.
I'm not hating on Alabama.
Yeah. You hear my thought on it? And as far as
maybe a little.
As far as me ever leaving ESPN 690 and going someplace for college football, you never have to worry about it. Because one thing I will never do on the radio is try to generate fake, fake just like enthusiasm. I'm always going to keep it 110% real, Brent. So go ahead and ask me what I think about Alabama being number 5 right now.
What do you think about Alabama being number 5?
See what happens at the end of the season,
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and ask me what I think about Minnesota right now being number 8.
What do you think about Minnesota?
Yeah, we'll see if they can win out. We'll see what happens with the rest of the season. Ask me what I think about Baylor being whatever they are.
I'm not asking you anymore.
Yeah, because you see where I'm going with this.
I see where you're going with this. But
Everything will play out. And you know what? And when the smoke clears and when the dust settles, maybe there's going to be one school or at the most 2 schools that get screwed out of the college football playoff. But until that time, I'm gonna put it in cruise control because you know what? I don't go to a movie and I don't get out in the middle of it and say, you know what, this movie sucks. No, I wait till the ending and then I evaluate what's going on. I'm like, all right, either this movie was good or this movie sucks. But what I'm not gonna do is get passionate, 3/4 of the way through the college football season when the stuff hasn't shaken out yet.
Yeah, but here's where I think that while I understand that and things will shake out, I get it. And by the way, yes, there's a little bit of, I like the rank. I've said this a million times. We said it with Jason Fitz. The college football committee loves this. College football loves it. This is why they're not going to a 16-team thing, because they love the debate.
Absolutely.
And I'm guilty of it. I get it. And I don't disagree with you, but I do have this part of it. The way you set things up right now for the next 3-4 weeks and month or whatever it is can also dictate, if there is Armageddon in the top 10, how things shake out. So you are putting teams in position. So my point is, if you only drop Alabama to number 5, or even if you keep them at number 4, well, what if we get to a point where you have a bunch of these teams with one loss, and now we're comparing things, but that team that's really down at number 8 probably should get in. You know what I mean? It's harder to craft the way into the postseason unless you're just going to get a lot of help along the way. And we haven't had that situation in college football yet where everything has just been a train wreck. Yeah. It's usually fallen into place, right? There have been very little bit of, so to your point, there's been very little controversy. Alabama getting in the 1 year, Ohio State getting in the 1 year, but both did very well, so it didn't matter. Now, there's all sorts of scenarios, and this is why we like to do it. What if? What if Georgia loses to Auburn, beats LSU, and now has 2 losses?
But that's the point right there. So do you think Georgia, and I get it, Georgia, if you want to break this down, we can say Georgia's played a tougher schedule than Alabama, which I would 100% agree with. But you don't mean to tell me that maybe, just maybe, Georgia's number 4 right now because they are playing Auburn, and that's going to be like the matchup of the week.
Telltale, yeah.
Exactly. And Alabama, no offense to our fans out there, but they're playing Mississippi State, and that's not going to be much of a game. No offense to the Bulldog fans out there, but let's stop kidding ourselves. So
I'd be awesome if Mississippi State wins, and then I'll be right.
But here's the thing, though, Brett. This isn't an exact science. This is a committee saying, well, let's see the schedule this week. Ooh, Georgia, Auburn. Let's see the schedule this week. Oh, Georgia playing Auburn. Yeah, let's go ahead and put Georgia at number 4 because that way, it's kind of like, can they maintain that 4 spot? Like, to me, I get it. It's not exact science. That's what makes it so exciting. But that's what also kind of makes it just like, let me wait till this all shakes out because if you want to start putting Georgia wants to be number 4 because they're playing Auburn this week, then I really don't care what your rankings are.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I guess for me, when I don't wear any of the goggles. Okay, I don't. If Alabama wins, fine. I mean, sure. Am I a little fatigued on them? Probably. But if Georgia wins, great. If Florida wins, great. If LSU wins, great. Like I don't. A lot of problems when you have conversations with people in college football world. They have a side.
Of course.
And that's okay.
Yeah, because they have a team.
So you can't talk to me, like, logically about it, though. Like, I'm still waiting for the person to tell me why Alabama is good. They have yet to do that. Yeah. Because they're Alabama. That's all they do.
Because they have a lot of draft picks coming out next year.
That's it. That's why they're telling me they're good. Okay? But I can't prove it. So that's my point. And also bring up the fact that they're playing with a quarterback with 1 foot right now. Because he obviously can hardly walk on that thing. Now he can shoot it up, all that stuff. I don't know. Can he do it to that injury? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But so we'll see. We'll see how it all. I get it. Listen. If we're going to do this though, I kind of want a logical path. I want logic to be involved in this at some point in terms of the measurables. And the bottom line is, and this is why we talk in circles on it, is there's really not. There's no, because it's all measurables. They don't all play each other. And so we're always going to have this ambiguity and this reason for debate. But I also think that is why it's fun too.
I'm going to get off the couch though, Brett, and I'm going to come meet you. And I'm going to say, you know what? If they can take anything with them and make one guaranteed thing that should abide by all of these, playoff eligible teams, it's the fact that if you play in a Power 5 conference and you're undefeated, you're going to the playoffs. That's my only shindig. And everything else can play off why it is.
It's an unwritten rule. Yeah. Because you can't have 5 of them.
But then I can sit here and say, well, if Baylor goes undefeated, are they going to the college football playoff? We can't say that for sure right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And part of the reason you can't say that for sure is because of where Alabama is.
Okay.
Okay? That's my point.
Okay. And I see your point. But my point is, listen, let's see what happens to see if Baylor can beat Oklahoma twice, because that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. Let's see if they can beat them twice. Let's see what happens with Alabama, all that stuff. But my only rule and my only thing should be if you're undefeated in a Power 5 conference, you win the conference championship, obviously, because you're undefeated, you should be able to go.
All right. Well, by the way, PJ Fleck, I'm rowing the hell out of this Minnesota boat, so you better not lose to Iowa this week. Better keep this going for another week, buddy. That's a rivalry game now.
No, it is, man. It's a huge game. I like Minnesota. I hope John Bachman's not listening. I like Minnesota that game still, but obviously the Ohio State test is going to be the big one.
All right. Way to blow up the rundown, by the way. I wanted to come out of the gates with Foles and Minshew, Jags. And here we are talking about the college football playoff.
You're the one talking about Alabama people coming after you on Twitter.
That sounds like some other station in town. Let's go.
We're going to
talk to NFL.
We're going to talk Foles and Minshew next. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Bundle up today. It'll be breezy and chilly under partly cloudy skies. Temperatures only reaching the 50s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where you can get 20% off store-wide, including loose diamonds with special financing. Only at Beards Diamonds.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
I'm Dr. Eric Kim at the Heekin Clinic. I've dedicated my career to helping eliminate joint pain many patients suffer every day. At the Heekin Clinic, we use the most advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques, including robotic-aided knee replacement, which has produced outstanding results for our patients. I'm excited to be part of the Heekin Clinic team and look forward to helping the patients in Northeast Florida live a pain-free life.
The Heekin Clinic, a full-service orthopedic surgical practice specializing in knees and hips. Log on and search for Heekin Clinic today.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
How have binoculars and just the general discomfort that comes with using binoculars, how have we not improved that?
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
It was amazing, with medicine. You get a hairline fracture where you don't need surgery. It can take longer to where you snap it, you need surgery and put a plate in there. It can actually heal quicker. So snapping it actually helped it. A little more painful, but, I get to, buzz every time I go through the airport now. I get to get stopped and checked, so I get to meet more people.
That's Nick Foles trying to find the positive side of that broken clavicle. I'll tell you what, I watched this guy's news conference, and, we hadn't really talked or heard from or seen Nick Foles in a couple of months. It's really strange how some guys, like he is, for lack of a better word, and you can take this whatever way you want. I don't mean it in a bad way at all, but he is kind of a preachy kind of guy. I mean, he talks God and Jesus and shares his faith and is not afraid to, and we'll talk a lot about that. Russell Wilson does it. Tim Tebow has done it. I mean, but a lot of people have done it. Okay, I'm just saying.
To be fair, like for the Jaguars' perspective, Rasheed Mathis used to do that sometimes in the locker room.
Yeah. So again, players do it.
Yeah.
But some people do it at length. And they believe they're just. You can really tell it's in their just how much it's part of them in their heart and everything goes back to that, and there was a little bit of that in the Nick Foles press conference. And listen, I understand some people like that. Some people don't like it. Let's just talk football. We can have those conversations. That's fine. But what I'm getting at here is I've said this a lot about Nick Foles, where there is a sense of peace about a player that's been through some of the things he's been through, where I want to retire, I've been injured, I can't win a starting job, and then the successes, where if you get to 30 years old and you've been through all those things in the NFL and this public lifestyle where a lot of pressure and the hardest position in sports to play, it's kind of cool to see Foles in the place he's in. There's a respect for that. And I have no idea if that means the Jags can go 5-2 or 6-1 or 3-4 or 2-5 with them. That doesn't correlate. But it's not very often that jumps out at you, is what I'm getting at. That's kind of like you see that. I mean, you can absolutely see that he has this, from getting hurt to not playing to this journey that he's on in Jacksonville after getting the big contract, all that stuff. It's almost like it does not matter what happens to Nick Foles. He'll be fine, and he's going to stay this even keel way, be confident. He is who he is. He's comfortable in his own skin. And you know what? It's what we applauded Gardner Minshew for the last couple months, being comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
There is not a phony thing about Gardner Minshew. And to be honest with you, there's not a phony thing about Nick Foles.
No,
and there's
sure.
something about that. There's something kind of cool seeing that jump off the page or in front of a microphone or whatever it is. And you can really feel it when you're in the room, right? So to that point, I'm watching this news conference, and this now is aside from all the faith-based stuff. Nick Foles, in my opinion, is if you had to label Gardner Minshew and label Nick Foles, you would say Gardner Minshew, man, that guy is fun, right? That guy's awesome. This is great. I want to be around, go have a beer with that guy.
Yeah.
Nick Foles would be boring.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Outside looking in.
Okay.
Again, this isn't a knock. I'm just saying if you're going to label. Yet that guy, as I'm listening to him talk in 10 or 15 minutes, I could see why all those players in the room gravitate to him. And I almost felt like, let's go play that football game today.
Yeah.
Listening to him talk. That's a weird thing. I don't think that. Usually you've got to get me fired up, man, and start yelling at me, in football especially, to say, let's go run through that wall. I'm with you. We're going to beat the Colts. It's a weird thing with Foles where he does not necessarily do that. In fact, it doesn't even look like there's that kind of fire in the belly. But the way he says it, the way it comes off, it's almost like I bet that resonates with guys. So, like, I want to go play with this guy, win for this guy, help this guy get W's.
Sure.
Strange feeling watching that thing today for me.
Yeah. So first of all, I know we kind of put the faith thing to the side, but I want to rehash it real quick here. And listen, when it comes to faith, I'm not the biggest guy at faith. I'll be the first one to say that. You know, I'm not. But I do respect the people that are, because, and it's not just faith, it's anything that requires the passion. And I think in the NFL, Brent, there's kind of there's two sides to faith, right? There's the guys that, like Foles, who are genuine, they preach it 24/7 and they stand by it. And then there's other guys who they may come across as being strong in faith, but sometimes when it's only convenient, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But my point is the fact that with guys like Foles, and I played with guys like Rasheed Mathis, guys like that, where guys that are really strong in their faith that I've encountered in football, when things don't go their way, say they have an injury, say maybe they even get cut, or it's just maybe something bad happens to them off the field, they have a tendency to stay more grounded and calm and collected, because I guess they can just handle the adversity better. And you can call that faith. You can just call that being passionate, whatever it is. But I'm just saying, from what I experienced, it's always the guys that, were, even Aaron Campman was another perfect example. Aaron Campman was a man of faith as well, and he would preach it sometimes. I mean, he led like a chapel sometimes, in the stadium. So, like, those guys are just special in the fact that nothing seemed to get to him. So now let's fast forward to what you're talking about with Nick Foles in that press conference. Yes, he's not the Gardner Minshew type. He's not wearing the jock strap. Nick Foles doesn't have Cam Soda asking him, for all these sponsorships, whatever it is. But I think like Nick Foles is he's so strong. Like we talk about, we preach how Gardner Minshew knows who he is. And I've mentioned that at Senior Bowl. I'm like, there's something about this guy where he completely knows who he is. He doesn't care what other people think. Well, Nick Foles is the same way. And I think sometimes men of faith are the same way, where they know exactly who they are. They know exactly where their priorities are. And then there's just a hierarchy, and it goes down and down and down. And obviously football is probably a big on the hierarchy to Nick Foles. But obviously his faith is number one. So I think that even if guys aren't like, true believers, or guys maybe don't share the exact same passion for Nick Foles' faith, the fact that he can exemplify exactly who he is in that locker room, whether they believe or not, guys are going to respect that and want to follow that.
And here's the way, as you talk about it, and I've talked about it, and I think about it a little bit more, and what comes across to me with Foles, again, we haven't been around this guy a lot. I mean, he's probably talked really, I don't know, 10, 12 times since he's been here. That's it. He's turned down all one-on-one interviews, and all he wants to be team-focused. But we really haven't had a chance to kind of get to know Nick Foles and see Nick Foles like the people in Philadelphia did or anywhere else. So I think we're still learning about this guy, and now we're being reminded of this guy since he's going to be the starting quarterback going forward, starting this week against Cincinnati. But I think what it all comes back to, and you played a game in the NFL, and professional athletes, to me, can be. Now, this is not a label. This can be, and you can say this even more, phony. They can be not, you don't really know. Like, what's the age-old thing from a media perspective is, like, we really think we know who these guys are. We have no idea who these guys are,
sure.
Right? I mean, you can talk to a guy, he lets off the nicest,
Yeah, I'm laughing because you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the point. I could give you countless examples, too. Yeah. I won't. But I think what comes back to a guy like Minshew, in a different way because he's young, so he still has to do it for a longer time to gain the really grab the locker room. But really, Foles, even though he doesn't fire you up necessarily and going to rah-rah you to death, is there's this authenticity and genuine nature about him. And I think that's something that's in any walk of life is hard to ignore for people. And it's easily detectable. Usually you can tell who the phony guy is.
Yeah.
And you might even be wrong if you judge that person and say that guy's kind of phony.
Yeah.
But you might be wrong. Authenticity, a genuine nature to somebody, that you usually can detect. And I think he oozes that much the way Paul Posluszny did, much the way Calais Campbell does. And there are countless examples, but those are ones that come to mind where you combine that authenticity with good football player, good resume, and I want to do whatever I can for that guy And that's kind of what football's all about. You want to be able to do whatever you can do for that next guy. It might just be one, the guy playing right next to you, or it might be the guy throwing you the football, or it might be the guy leading the defensive huddle. Mm-hmm. But you have to trust, right? And it's an ultimate team game. So that's where that comes into play, and those guys can be successful because of it.
And it's funny because I've talked to numerous offensive linemen, and some have blocked for great quarterbacks, and some, teams I've been a part of blocked for, some quarterbacks that were lacking, let's just say, and a nice way to put it. And, I've asked them many times, I'm like, in your eyes, what makes a great quarterback? Like, what kind of personality? Because, I'm all about the psychology of players, especially the quarterbacks, because they're kind of the double standard. And I would always go, like, do you want, like, the rah-rah type to kind of motivate you a little bit? Do you want more of the calm, cool, collected guy? What kind of quarterback do you prefer to block to? And I'll be honest, probably 9 times out of 10, over 90% of the times I ask offensive linemen this, and I've asked Joe Thomas, I've asked a lot of guys this question, and they always come back with the same thing. They want the guy that's calm and collected. They don't want the guy that's up 1 minute and down the next minute, because if you're winning and you're having a great game, it's super easy to celebrate and it's easy to high five and, kind of cuss up a storm and just have fun. That's fantastic. But when you're in the trenches and things aren't going your way and you're in the middle of the playoffs or whatever you're doing, you're fighting for a division and you guys are losing, the last thing you want to have as a general is a guy that's going to panic and yell. You want to have that general. You want to have the leader of your team in that huddle be calm, cool, and collected and say, you know what, guys? We're all right. Even though there's bullets flying above your head, and obviously this isn't real, but I'm comparing this, So if there's bullets flying over your head or you're down by 10 with, a couple minutes to go, you want the guy that's calm and collected, because that's the guy that's going to calm everybody else around in order for those guys to do their job. And I think with Nick Foles, more than anybody right now, I think Nick Foles has that characteristic about him.
He certainly does. And again, I think age goes into that. Some of the battles, the trials and tribulations of his life on the field, off the field, all those things go into that. And the moment isn't too big because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. He's in that moment, whatever it is, he's in this zone that he's not coming out of. I mean, it is who he is. So I can't, and I say all this, folks, without saying that means they're going 6-1 the rest of the way. Yeah. I have no idea how he's going to play. Mm-hmm. I guess I was just reminded of it watching Nick Foles. I mean, I sat there watching, and then I just couldn't take my eyes off it. I'm thinking of all this stuff going through. I'm like he actually, did I really leave that news conference thinking those guys might watch this and be like, let's go play today? And in a weird way, I kind of did, even though he said nothing that you would put a quote on the wall. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there was just this authenticity about it. Okay, that's kind of Nick Foles with the vibe and the player, and he's taken over this football team, and he's handled all this really well. But how is he going to play? Mm-hmm. Let's get into that next. Jaguars, a few days away from a very important football game. Nick Foles will be at quarterback. We'll talk about it, hear more from Foles, hear from Gardner Minshew as well, coming up on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Happy hump day. The Jags are ready to get back on the horse this weekend, and this case, it's a Colt. They play the Indianapolis Colts with a chance to pull even with their record in the division. Coach Marrone knows that this will be a challenge.
They play extremely hard. Really good east to west, north to south, good up front. They make you earn everything that you have.
And this weekend, controversial quarterback Colin Kaepernick will be doing a workout for all 30 teams in Atlanta. It's to show his football readiness to see if anybody wants to sign him. The NFL is putting it on, and there will not only be drills, but an interview as well. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices, premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus with locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They've been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Join Planet Fitness by November 13th for just 25 cents down, $10 a month. No commitment. Tons of equipment, free fitness training, and more. Join in club or at planetfitness.com. See club for details.
Phil Aitken with Aitken Home Team Keller Williams Realty is Jacksonville's real estate authority. If you have a question about real estate, call 500-PHIL. Need to buy or sell a home? Call 500-PHIL. Phil's results are staggering, and he's knocking it out of the park for his sellers. Phil recently sold the home at 314 Morel in just 6 days. He sold the home at 429 Panacea before it even hit the market. The 5-star reviews go on and on. Here's the point. If you're selling your home now or in the future, call Phil Aitken. He'll help you maximize the sale of your home. Phil has thousands of families who are ready to buy a home today, and Phil will sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or he'll buy it himself, guaranteed in writing. Don't risk losing money or precious equity on the sale of your home, or hire just any agent. Make the call and hire the only agent who will guarantee your success in writing every time. Phil Aitken is ready to help now at 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL, or visit philhasthebuyers.com. That's philhasthebuyers.com, and start packing.
Small business owners, it's been a great year, and now it's time to begin to make some end-of-year decisions. Instead of giving your hard-earned money to the tax man, consider reinvesting in your business with a quality pre-owned truck, van, or commercial work vehicle from Jacksonville Truck Center. With the largest selection of pre-owned work vehicles in North Florida and easy commercial financing, let us be your one-stop shop to get the job done today. We're on the corner of Arlington Expressway and Southside Connector. Stop by today or visit us at jacksonvilletruckcenter.com.
The cooler temperatures are finally here, and that means it's time to play some golf at a great golf course. Go to the Golf Club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. Unbelievable promotion here. 2 free months of full golf membership and a $500 gift card with a paid initiation fee and a 12-month commitment. The Golf Club at Southampton, home of the Dream 18 and your new golfing destination. For information on these unbelievable programs, call the Golf Club at Southampton at 904-287-PLAY. That's 904-287-PLAY.
Fact: about half of all men will experience ED or PE. Fact: both ED and PE are highly treatable. Fact: a safe, effective treatment is just a call away. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our highly skilled doctors guarantee results on your first visit, or there's no charge. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rabinsky. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, the treatments at Prime Men's Medical Center work immediately, regardless of your age or medical history. You'll receive custom blended medications designed just for you. They're safe and effective with no pain and no surgery. Patients are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, the treatments are affordable.
Men, if you want to last longer in the bedroom, schedule a private consultation with the experienced physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904! Powered by Cox Media Group.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here from Golic & Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jackson. It's clear Northeast Florida has great taste in radio. I mean, you're listening to me every morning, right? Join the ESPN 690 team and get your business notice today. The First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get your business in front of them. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Golic & Wingo.
I think my jersey was one of the top-selling jerseys around the world, and I didn't make $1 from it, but nor did I want to.
I respect Tim Tebow. I respect his opinion. I love his passion. I just could not disagree with it more.
Golic & Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
It's not about us. It really isn't. And if you make it about yourself, you're probably going to go home at night, lay your head on your pillow, and be very alone and very sad. My purpose isn't football, it's impacting people. And my ministry happens to be the locker room. And I've been able still to get to know people, get to know these guys through an injury. Though I might not be playing, that is difficult from a fleshly perspective, but from the spiritual perspective, from my heart, I've been able to grow as a human being to where I feel like I'm at a better situation here as a person than I was before because of the trial I just went under. And I know that's a sermon in itself, but that's how I go through life.
That's Nick Foles. That's what we were talking about a little bit. I
Preaching.
mean, yeah, he went on, and it was interesting how, he referred to the locker room. And again, that stuff wasn't like being made up. That was like, it wasn't like a rehearsed thing. That's just kind of who he is, and how he sees it, how he views it. I think what's important there, it doesn't mean everybody else has to view it that way. That's how he views it, right? And so that's the best way for him to get belief in his teammates and knowing his teammates. And he's really taken that. I have not seen a player come in here and taken as much of a concerted effort to get to know teammates, to lay that foundation, to kind of understand the role that he is a new guy in a locker room that has a lot of players that have been around in a new place, but he also comes in as the guy. And he understands that role. I think that's a hard thing to do. Think about going into any business, especially if you've done something in like a management role, right? And you're coming in. I think that's a hard thing to do. A lot of people will say, I think, at least from what I've listened to, whether it's Shad Khan taking ownership of the Jags or business people, and say they like to come in and observe for a while, see how it is, and then maybe start moving and shaking and doing some things or implementing some things rather than, bam, right off the rip, walk in the door and say, this is the way we're doing it. Now, sports are a little different. Coaches want to get in there and change the culture, right? But from a player standpoint, it was interesting to watch Foles do this in the spring, again, from afar, and we're not in the locker room, and try to lay that foundation. It was very different that I think I've experienced. Now, why is that different? Well, because we haven't seen a quarterback of his stature in terms of MVP, Super Bowl MVP, big-time free agent come in here to Jacksonville. We haven't seen that. That's the first time, like, at least that I've been covering him, that's happened. And so to see him do some of those things and take those steps, I thought was pretty unique in an already unique situation.
Yeah, and I've shared this story before with Alex Smith when I first got there. Like, we had lunch together because he wanted to know who the new guy was that was coming on the team, And then when I was in Seattle and I was hoping to sign a contract, it didn't work out. But when I was in Seattle, Russell Wilson, when I was eating lunch by myself, just, they're kind of getting in and out of meetings. They had some free time. Russell Wilson comes up to me, who I played against before in college, so we kind of knew each other a little bit. But he comes up to me, he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? Like, are you getting ready to sign? What's up? Like, he just kind of was curious because, if I was to sign, well, then I'm his teammate and I'm one of the newer guys. So I think it is very telling, Brent, because not every locker room is like that. And not every quarterback or leader of the football team is like that. And I think it says not something for only the locker room dynamic and the character and the culture in the locker room, but also just what kind of person, that the quarterback is. And I think that if they go out of their way to see, even if it's the last guy on the team, even if it's the last guy to make the roster, the fact that they still go out of their way to kind of know what's going on, they have all their bases covered, I think that says a lot about the culture of a football team.
Yeah, and so now all of that, what does it mean on the field, essentially? And what does that do for the Jacksonville Jaguars these final 7 games? I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, all this is great and dandy, and wow, that's how you do it, and other teams do it, and veteran quarterbacks have done it, and leaders of great. But now you need results. And like any other person coming into a building or any job, you need results. And especially in this kind of business, they need results. And they need them in a hurry because they're 4-5. I will go back to some of our conversations that we've had, and that is how much of this offense is about to evolve with Nick Foles in it. Now, a lot of people, I've seen a little bit of chatter today, and I think even Foles was asked about it, like, hey, Frank Reich knows who you are. So isn't he going to know what to expect and what to scheme for? I guess to a degree, but I mean, you don't know the playbook, and you don't know what kind of plays you're going to run. My point is, I do think there is somewhat of a subtle advantage. How big that is, we don't know, because nobody ever said, hey, Minshew is running 64% of the playbook. But how much will we see on Sunday that we haven't seen glimpses of, formations, looks, the use of the tight end, throwing it over the middle of the field, more the willingness to throw the deep ball to Conley. Those things, there are some things that have been out there that haven't been executed by the Jaguars and Minshew that maybe we get a chance to see. And, we have to wait till Sunday around 4 o'clock to find that out.
Well, guess what? And I guess if you want to sit here and tell me that the Colts have the advantage now because, their head coach has worked with Nick Foles before, but then I can turn that around and say, well, then no, the Jaguars have the advantage because Nick Foles has literally worked with their head coach. He knows what the philosophy that he likes to run. He knows the plays. Yeah. I'm sure he knows some of the calls as well, because that's the thing with coaches, man. Once they find what they like and everything, now they may change up the verbiage just a little bit, but they kind of stick true to their guns. Eventually they adapt, but I don't think, Reich has adapted from Philadelphia back in 2016, 2017 to the Colts now. I don't think he's adapted that much. So if you want to say the Colts have the advantage now, I can turn it around and say, well, the Jaguars have the advantage because the starting quarterback of the Jaguars has played for the head coach before.
Let me ask you this. Who benefits most on offense from Nick Foles playing? Want me to give you some? I'll give you ideas.
Yeah.
No. Well, you kind of wrinkled your nose at this question, but I'll give you A, Chris Conley.
Okay. See, I don't know if you're going. Okay.
Josh Oliver.
Gotcha.
C, offensive line. Mm-hmm. Here's another thing. Okay. Another thing that we talked about back in the summer, because I remember Doug Marrone saying it when Nick Foles was introduced, and I remember asking, I think you and some other folks kind of investigated this a little bit and said, what the hell does that even mean? And it was one of the great things about Foles is, as an offensive lineman, Marrone said this, and then other offensive linemen said it, you know where he's going to be. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I bring up the offensive line. Right? Mm-hmm. What will he make easier on the offensive line from checks, from picking up blitzes, from doing all these different things, and from knowing where he's going to be? That, again, I'm bringing you guys back to the conversations that were part of the summer when this guy was going to be the quarterback for 16 games. And I think we almost have to be refreshed on this. Chris Conley was fantastic in August with him. There's no denying that. And I continue to tell you that Chris Conley would not be here in Jacksonville if Nick Foles wasn't the quarterback. I genuinely believe that. I think Nick Foles made that happen, or at least suggested it to happen. Josh Oliver, now listen, in fairness to Gardner Minshew, Josh Oliver was out the entire time. But we know the usage of tight ends in Flip's offense and also with Foles in Philadelphia. And yes, they had more talented ones and better tight ends, obviously. But they like to use them. So, but that offensive line thing, Blake Bortles, nobody knew where the heck he was going to be when he was back there. I started to understand what they were talking about, even though it's fun to watch. Well, Minshew is kind of that way, right? They didn't have a trust factor relationship with Minshew. They hadn't played with him very much. And then on top of that, he is scrambling around. He would bail out maybe a little bit earlier than some expected. Again, I'm not trying to knock Minshew here. I'm just trying to find where Foles develops this offense better than it may have been, better than 3 points against Houston, better than 6 points against New Orleans, better than 12 points against Houston. They have to score more than that. Where do they find more success? Who benefits from Nick Foles being the quarterback of this football team, maybe more than anybody else? I gave you three options. Am I missing somebody?
No, you are missing somebody. So I have made my decision. And granted, let's be honest. We think this offense is going to be better now with Foles than it was Minshew. So a lot of players.
I don't know if it is.
Well, the Jaguars think he is, or else he wouldn't be starting.
Oh, good point.
So with that, philosophy, we can assume that a lot of players in that offense will be elevated a little bit. But I think one guy is going to be elevated more than anybody. Do you know who I'm thinking?
I'm not going to Leonard Fournette because he had a heck of a first half. DJ Chark
you should go to Leonard Fournette.
Why?
Because if you look at Nick Foles' history, and if you look at the Eagles' history when he played there, it's that the running back was always utilized. Now, I'm not comparing this Jaguars team to the 2017 Philadelphia Super Bowl champion Eagles.
Please don't.
Not doing that. But when I look at the things that they're running, and I look at the wide receivers where they don't really have, I mean, I guess DJ Chark, would you consider DJ Chark probably the number one receiver now, right?
I have to. He's got 6
the
touchdowns.
Yeah, he has the stats to back it up. So Chark's the number one receiver. But I think what they're going to try to do now that Foles is back, listen, when they had success, guys like LeGarrette Blount and J.A. Ajayi, now granted, Ajayi was out when Foles came back, but guys like Corey Clement, guys like Wendell Smallwood, they were the featured running back, but also the featured receiver. You know, and sometimes, especially when you're coming back from an injury, and I get it, Foles should be ready to go. I don't think he has any rust on him. That's kind of the message he's purveying here. But assuming maybe he comes back and, you know, the game's a little fast for him to start things off, especially against a pretty good Colts defense, there's nothing better to use to get kind of your feet grounded again than 2 things. The tight end, which right now, I'll be honest, the Jaguars don't have, and the running back. And I think Fournette, being that bell cow that he is, being being a pretty good legit guy in the receiving game and also being a pretty powerful runner, I think that Leonard Fournette, and it's hard to say because he had such a good first half of the NFL season, I think Leonard Fournette can even have a second better half, especially in the receiving game.
That's really interesting. And, you know, we're going to take it to the wall that says it all in just a little bit. And there's a play on there that we think Leonard Fournette could have had his hands on, not the one he dropped in Houston, but that he's open and Gardner doesn't find him. And again, that happens on every play almost. It feels like that sometimes there's a guy open you don't find. But it wasn't the only time it's happened this year, so to that point. But I do think, and I'm trying to look it up real quick while we're talking, but Leonard Fournette already has quite a bit of receptions. I think he's up to around 35 receptions, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe 5'7", 2'6", 4'2", 6'4", 4". He's up to 40. He's got 40 receptions this season, which, you know, you bring up another, and I don't know how much of this is DeFilippo, how much of that's Foles, how much of it's Minshew related, but it reminds me of another conversation we had. You know, you sitting there and watching some of the practices in training camp, and you're like, holy cats. I mean, Leonard Fournette might have 65 catches this year. Yeah. Well, guess what? He's on pace.
Well on his way.
And so, again, I think it's more of a system thing with DeFilippo, but I don't disregard what you're saying about finding him the football, too.
But also, let's go ahead and take this into account. And I said Leonard Fournette.
But is he going to catch more than 40 passes?
Well, but you're not looking at the big picture here. Yes, he's going to have, I think, more receptions for sure. But also, I think the running lane's going to open up a little as well, because now teams maybe who want to stack the box and have a rookie quarterback from Washington State try to beat you, well, they can't do that anymore. And I get it. Foles hasn't shown anybody anything yet this season besides one pass to DJ Chark in the end zone. But if we assume this offense does take another step up and does, rise in another echelon, well, then teams can't stack the box anymore. And teams are going to have to respect the Jacksonville Jaguars receiving game and especially their quarterback. And if they can do that, that also opens up the run game as well.
Okay, I like your right-in answer, but I also like the fact you tried to go D, all the above, on the other 3. So humor me. And of the 3 that I mentioned, Josh Oliver, Chris Conley, and the offensive line.
Oh, Chris Conley then, all day.
All day?
All day, I think. Yeah, because listen, Chris Conley is here for a reason, right? And a big reason is because of Nick Foles. Or, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Did Conley get here first or did Foles get here first?
No, Foles was here.
Yeah, Foles got here first. Yeah, I mean, Chris Conley came. And I think that
I'm pretty sure Nick Foles got here and said, hey, you need another. If you're looking for another guy, I got a guy.
And listen, and we saw this all in OTAs. We saw this in training camp, especially on the deep ball, especially on the go route. Chris Conley was that guy. Chris Conley was almost like the DJ Chark to Gardner Minshew.
He was.
So I think you have to go Chris Conley for sure in this fact, just because he's showed some okay performances, but he hasn't had that, in my opinion.
He had the one good game.
Yeah, but he hasn't had like that above and beyond game, right? He hasn't had that one where it's like, I see why the Jags went after him so hard now. So from that perspective, I think Chris Conley gets a big benefit.
Now keep in mind, they went after Chris Conley as like a third wide receiver option. They did not go after, they thought, hey, maybe the guy can really elevate his game because he's been stuck in Kansas City behind a lot of weapons. But they did not there wasn't like this pie in the sky thought on Chris Conley that if they sign him, all of a sudden he's going to the Pro Bowl. All pro Chris Conley. I know you guys out there. I see that sometimes. But so my point is.
But who was the guy that was catching all the go routes in training camp from Nick Foles?
I'm not disregarding that. I'm not disregarding.
To me, that's a one receiver, man.
I just have a hard time getting there. Yeah. And I love Chris Conley. But I just have a hard time saying, okay, well, Now, all of a sudden, he's going to become I think DJ Chark has established himself, and I also think don't sleep on D.D. Westbrook, even though he's probably going to be hurt most of the year, and he's going to have to play through that stuff. I think he is still your dangerous weapon in the passing game, D.D. Westbrook. That probably has been underutilized, one, because he's been a little banged up, and two, just been underutilized. I believe now, and I am not one of these guys that sits there and says, when I watch the tape, all right, but I don't. But what I do watch is these shows that we do, and other people break down the tape, and I watch other people break down the tape that know it a lot better than me and do a pretty good job of it. And I would say of the player that Gardner Minshew missed open the most, or at least given opportunities the most, it was Chris Conley. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yes.
Like, so Chris and there's several things about this now. Again, everything sounds like I'm beating up Gardner Minshew here. I'm not trying to do that. Instead, he might have found Chark on the play for a successful play.
Yeah.
But I think what naturally happens is Minshew worked with Chark in the preseason. Foles obviously was working with Conley. Well, there was this rapport and this comfortability, and then there was this confidence. And remember, Chark at the beginning of the year was catching everything, man. You could throw it in the parking lot. The guy would run out the tunnel, outside the gates, through the concourse, and catch the football. I mean, he was catching everything, and he still has caught most everything. So I think there was this comfort level with him. And therefore, and they both playing on opposite sides of the field, too. And so Minshew's eyes are going to where? You're going to take him to number 17 as quick as possible because of that comfort level. Yeah. Well, I wonder, because of the trust factor, will number 7's eyes take him to number 18 on the other side of the field first?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying here. It's not it's just natural stuff.
Yep.
Instinctual stuff.
Yeah.
Confidence kind of stuff that could open the door.
No, you're absolutely right. And I agree with you saying DJ Chark is probably the top. I mean, he is the one receiver now.
He has to be. He's got 6 touchdowns, man.
But I hate, like, we use the term 1-2 receiver, stuff like that.
Well, they don't have a true Julio Jones. So.
Exactly. But to be fair, though, he may be the number 1 receiver, but you know who's second right now in the team in receptions?
Leonard Fournette.
There you go.
I know.
And he's only 3 behind.
Yeah. No, it's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great out of the backfield.
I think it's going to be
Leonard
better.
Fournette's that'll be interesting.
Maybe I'm just biased because he's my fantasy football team.
Record this. Everything's fantasy slated with you. It's a bias with you.
It is a
Lamar
bias.
Jackson,
I'm just joking,
Leonard
man.
Fournette, it's everything. We're going to the wall that says it all. When we come back, we got to figure out this dang red zone. Will Foles figure it out? Next on ESPN 690.
Do you want shoes made from nature's original luxury superfiber? Then you need new Skechers washable shoes, made from premium quality wool. To start, wool wicks away moisture to help keep you dry and comfortable. It's also super flexible and highly breathable. And not only do they keep you cool and comfortable in the summer, but Skechers washable shoes also regulate temperature to keep you warm and toasty in the winter. Plus, they're even washable. Discover the wonders of wool with Skechers washable shoes at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
Tonight at 10 Eastern on CNBC, an all-new Back in the Game.
Remember Ryan Lochte? At age 34, he's having to pack up his metals, downsize his home, face a very uncertain future. That's where I come in. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Now that I'm retired, I want to give back by helping ex-athletes and entertainers that damage their reputations and their finances and want to get back on their feet.
Why did you lie?
I didn't lie. Can Ryan rebuild his career and provide a stable life for his growing family?
Back in the Game, all new tonight, 10 Eastern. CNBC. Get yours.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
New flavors and a rating that would make man jealous. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brett Martineau. Vita de Louis recently got a 98 rating. It's new, and it's getting rave reviews.
Made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Vita de Louis is available in 3 flavors.
And those flavors are Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. Try all three. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis Tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. For merchandise and more, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
Moscow Ballet's Great Russian Nutcracker dazzles this Christmas. Bring the whole family together for the original holiday tradition. Step into a simpler time filled with sweet dreams and spectacular magic. Experience world-class artists, stunning costumes, and towering puppets on the Gift of Christmas tour. It just wouldn't be Christmas without Moscow Ballet's Great Russian Nutcracker. Get tickets now at nutcracker.com.
Appearing at the Florida Theater December 22nd. Get your tickets today at nutcracker.com.
What's up, Jacksonville? Angie here, president of Angie Staffing. If you're finding it harder and harder to find the right candidates or your ads are letting you down, call me, Angie Staffing, 904-703-8880. I have over 20 years of experience right here in Jacksonville. I can help with anything, accounting, finance, legal, even that one position that's impossible to fill. Angie Staffing, 904-703-8880. We're bringing back the hustle.
As we do. Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
The holidays are on the horizon, and that means family and food. Hey, everybody, I'm Brett Martineau. Let Renna's Pizza help you out. Parties at school, parties at work, celebrations, or... hey, maybe you're just tired of cooking yourself. Renna's has you covered with 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Want a fresh one? Renna's makes everything fresh. New York-style pizza, sandwiches, salads, pasta dishes, everything fresh. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida, Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach.
Planet Fitness's 25-cent sale is back. Join by November 13th for just 25 cents down with no commitment. Tons of cardio machines, free weights, and strength equipment? Check. Free fitness training and a 30-minute circuit? You got it. Spacious and supportive environment? Boom. Join Planet Fitness for just 25 cents down, $10 a month with no commitment. Hurry, this deal ends Wednesday, November 13th. So join today in club or at planetfitness.com. Annual membership fee applies. Planet Fitness clubs are independently owned and operated. See club for...
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The plan for the Cowboys, Lions, Redskins, Falcons, and Dolphins is for each to have a representative at free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick's workout on Saturday in Atlanta. The league denied a request by Kaepernick's reps for the workout to be on a Tuesday. Tuesday is when almost all NFL workouts take place because it allows head coaches and GMs to attend them. This workout set up by the league not sitting well with ESPN's Desmond Howard.
I think it's a PR stunt, a disingenuous attempt to try to, we gave the guy an opportunity to get to the NFL. Whoever wanted to come, it's like a theater. It's like a movie. Written, directed, scripted, and produced by the NFL for their own PR purpose.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Saints guard Andrus Peat had surgery on a broken arm, expected to miss 6 weeks. Despite the Jets' 2-7 record and fan unrest, team CEO Christopher Johnson said Coach Adam Gase will return next season. College football, Ohio State announced defensive lineman Chase Young will miss one more game for an NCAA rules violation, then return against Penn State November 23rd.
Vivid Seats, the top ticket source for the live events you crave, now has a loyalty program that allows fans to earn credit back. Go to the App Store or Google Play, download the Vivid Seats app, and enter promo code ESPN25 for 10% off your next order.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Welcome back here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We have come down to the TV studios as we do on a weekly basis nowadays here at CBS 47 and Fox 30. And on the wall that says it all, it's just 3 downs. And what we're going to do, since we didn't have a game to dissect from last week in the bye week, we're going to talk about the big picture, the number one problem the Jaguars have on offense after 9 games, red zone efficiency. We've talked it to death here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, but now let's show you a little bit about it. And as we always say, and I like to say, you can find this on our social media platforms where we're getting close to hitting 1 million views. Yes, we are. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. If you're listening in your car, follow along. We'll try to make it understandable for you and paint the picture, if you will. We're going to start with the last game in London, 9-0. Texans in the lead over the Jaguars. 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. They eventually get a field goal out of this, makes it 9-3. There's a 3rd and 6 play. What goes wrong?
So it's funny because we always talk about their formation, and I feel like I say it on a weekly basis now. They're in a 2-by-2 kind of bunch formation. This is kind of the in formation right now of the NFL, Brent. And before we kind of break these things down, we have to understand the Jaguars do a pretty good job of moving the ball, you know. But when they get down to the red zone, they're starting to falter a little bit. And the reason, well, there's a couple reasons why, but number one is you can't usually run your same plays that you do getting to the red zone as when you're in the red zone.
Playbook shrinks.
Yeah, exactly, because for the most part, everything's condensed, right?
The field shrinks.
The field shrinks and everything, so the defense can adjust from that. So kind of keep that in mind a little bit as we're breaking down some of these plays here. So the first play we got, it's a 2-by-2 formation, and basically it's going to be a pass. And the cool thing with the red zone is the fact that if you have a scrambling quarterback, if you have a dual threat quarterback, that keeps the defense on their toes a little more, right? Because now he can scramble, he can get the first down, he can get in the end zone. And if you're a defensive lineman, you have to change your entire rush in the red zone if you're going against a dual threat quarterback. If you're a defensive lineman, usually you can work a pass rush move, you can work a game. In the red zone, if you're going against a dual threat quarterback, it's more of the bull rushing. It's more about keeping the guy in the pocket and making him uncomfortable. You can't make the mistake.
Speaking of uncomfortable, I'm a little uncomfortable when you tell me, though, Gardner Minshew is a dual threat quarterback.
No, he's not a dual threat quarterback, but here's the thing, Brent. He can beat you with his legs. We've seen that a couple times. And when I say beat you with his legs, no, the guy is not like he's not like Russell Wilson where he could take off for 40, 50 yards, even though we've seen it a couple times from Minshew. But he has the ability to beat you with his legs and the fact that he can keep the play alive. So defenses have to take note of that. So what happens here?
Well, ball's on the 12-yard line, shotgun formation. You just said bunch formation, 3rd and 6, late in the first half in London. And what happens?
So basically what happens here is they flush him out of the pocket, right? So as far as the pass rushing is concerned, they have one guy that's trying to hit home, basically. Gardner Minshew feels the pressure. Now, if he's more of a savvy vet, maybe he stays in the pocket maybe a second longer and sees that he has Leonard Fournette wide open here in the flat. Maybe if he's a little more savvy, he can see that. But let's be honest, if he's a first-year guy, he's starting to feel the pressure on the backside, so he gets out. So he scrambles out.
And at this stage, at least, that we're showing you, Leonard Fournette has snuck out of the backfield. But it's not a direct pass to him. There's a lot going on in Minshew's mind. Now, what happened the frame before, the frame after, all those things? I mean, everything happens in a split second. But Fournette is available. And by the way, Fournette's back now at like the 17-yard line.
Exactly.
If he spits it out to Fournette, Fournette's probably not getting the first down anyway.
Probably not. But at the same time, you have man coverage right here. And if you get the ball to Fournette, maybe he makes one guy miss, and who knows what happens.
But this slide is where some missed opportunities
This is the missed opportunity right here. As you can see, we have the tight end who's circling across, running that out route is pretty much wide open at this point.
And that's down near the 6-yard line. That would be at the first down marker.
Yeah, well, it could be the 6-yard line for a first down or even a touchdown.
It's probably a touchdown, but at least a first down.
If Minshew can lead him. But the problem is he feels a little more pressure. He's on the run. And sometimes when you're on the run, you obviously can't see the full picture, right? You're just trying to you're trying to avoid getting hit and getting your head taken off, which has happened to him before, especially in Baltimore's first preseason game. So here we have the opportunity where he's scrambling, he's trying to keep the play alive, but he's not looking at all his keys. And, not all quarterbacks can do that. I think the benefit with Foles going forward now, is Foles going to be this mobile? Probably not. But the fact is, Foles going to have his eyes up the whole time, see the bigger picture, and that's where you can really benefit in the red zone.
The interesting thing about it, again, I know you're listening on radio and some people just have the audio of this, but Gardner Minshew now, the line of scrimmage was the 12-yard line. He's now back at the 23, and he's rolling to his right, and his eyes, at least in this frame, look way over to the left, it appears, like across the field. But meanwhile, he's got two receivers on this quadrant of the field, and one of them is the tight end that appears to be open if he leads them with a good pass. And then the other one is Fournette, who has now worked his way out of the backfield, and give credit to Fournette because he's now working his way up the field, and it looks like he could hit Fournette as well.
So the thing about this play, too, keep in mind, Brent, is that, yes, he is getting flushed out of the pocket, but he's getting flushed out with the grain. Sometimes you say against the grain or it's with the grain. This is where he wants to run. This is where he wants to throw the ball
because you can still throw well.
Because it's to his strong side. It's when he's going against the grain where you kind of like, a lot of quarterbacks can't make that pass, maybe just throw it away. But right here, he's going with the grain, and he has the ability to, like you said, either hit the tight end over here or hit Fournette for probably, a 10-yard gain or so.
And listen, I think you got to say this. This is not all on Gardner Minshew, right, in terms of the red zone inefficiencies.
No, it falls on
everybody. His
everybody.
numbers have been pretty good.
Yeah.
But on this play right here, Minshew has a couple plays that he could have made, it looks like.
And then let's be honest, if you're talking about this Houston game in London, it's probably his worst game overall this season.
That's a good point. All right, let's move on. We're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
And we could. I like the wall that says it all, but we got, we got to hurry a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we go to the Bengals game, and this is one where people say, there's the old adage, right? It's like, if you can't gain a yard, you're probably not going to win.
Correct.
Well, this is the first drive of the Cincy game. They looked like they were playing a JV team. Yeah. They looked like Lamar Jackson against Cincinnati.
Sure.
In that first drive of the game, if you go back and remember. But then they get to the 1-yard line, and they can't get the football in. They go for it on 4th down, and they can't get a yard.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. It's not, that's why it's not just a Minshew problem. It's the offensive line, it's Leonard Fournette. They are averaging, I want to say it's like 1.8 yards a carry inside the red zone. That ain't getting it done.
Correct. So now, if we rewind back to this play right here, we see Leonard Fournette. He actually started in his traditional set about, 5 to 6 yards behind the quarterback. He actually motions up to almost like a pistol kind of look.
Yeah.
And now he's about 4 yards behind the quarterback.
It was odd.
So now, let's be honest. Now, take the offensive line and the blocking out of it. If you look at Leonard Fournette right now, what do you think he's going to do?
Well, Leonard Fournette is like in a track position, essentially, in a 3-point stance, I guess, from the NFL, but it really looks like a track position, and he's literally 2.5 yards behind Minshew.
Exactly.
I think everybody remembers this play if you watch that game, and it's like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like, you can't even get momentum going.
Well, so here's the theory behind it. This is almost like a fullback dive, what they do sometimes.
That's what it felt like,
where the handoff gets handed off quicker, right?
Yep.
Where everything happens a little faster. And with Leonard Fournette, if you're coming downhill north to south, that's not a bad call because as soon as he gets the ball, he's going to lower his shoulder, and hopefully you can get a yard. But here's what the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of underestimated a little bit. The fact that they have, Brent, all of their receivers, all their offensive linemen bunched in together.
Yes.
So when you have everybody bunched in together like that, it doesn't leave a lot of room for error. Because if you're a defensive lineman, if you're an all-pro named Geno Atkins, you know dang well it's going to be a run play. And especially when Leonard Fournette motions in the kind of like this pistol look, you know it's going to be a run play. Because if it was going to be a pass play, they wouldn't motion him up here like that because then the timing gets all thrown off, right? Yeah. So keep that in mind. So now
that's a good key.
Exactly. So now as we go forward here, and I don't know if the linebacker saw Fournette motion up a little bit closer to the pistol, but it is a key. So now they hand the ball off and everything. But guess what? It's too clogged up. And this is all about push right now because
this is just mano-a-mano right here.
This shows you what kind of offensive line you do have because the defensive line knows the run's coming. There is no risk for a pass whatsoever. Sometimes when you run these formations and Fournette's maybe back a little more, okay, maybe it could be a tight end, boot, something like that. Not the case here. We know it's going to be a run. And like you said, Brent, mano-a-mano. Geno Atkins, one of the best 3 techniques in the game right now, gets a great push, and the Cincinnati Bengals get off the field on 4th and goal.
Yeah, he blew the play up, but also, think about the numbers game of this. You really, with the 3 linebackers back there, or I don't even know if they're linebackers, actually might be strong safety in it, but with all those, you basically have 11 against 9 at the very least.
Correct.
So it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And it's hard to win.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of this, you have to be able to push a yard if you're an offensive line, and Leonard's running downhill most of the time anyway. He'll help you get the other half a yard if you need. You get half, he gets half, right?
Yeah.
But a little of this is numbers game stuff. Not a lot of imagination here.
Yeah.
We just said, we think we're better than you, and we weren't.
Exactly, and that's all you can do. When you're this close to the goal line, Brent, you can't really do a lot of traps. You can't run a lot of, crazy pulling stuff just because that needs time to develop. And when we're down here on the 1 yard line, it's mano a mano. You don't have time to, kind of bait the defense and do something crazy. So from that perspective, it was mano a mano. Unfortunately, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they don't do well here.
Jags pull away in this game. But if the Jags score this touchdown, they probably win this game 38-10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it felt.
Yeah.
If they had scored this touchdown right here to open the game, they'd blow them out.
But also keep in mind, though, on this exact same drive here, I think it was either first or second down, Gardner Minshew almost threw a pick six as well.
He did, actually, that ball that flipped. You're right. Good point. And that would have been a mistake. That's two mistakes in the red zone.
And that would have been a huge
and we're only
mistake.
showing one.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to the last play before we got to get out of here.
Absolutely.
And this is going all the way back to the infamous two-point conversion, which right now looms large in this season.
Absolutely.
It really does. I mean, we can't understate that.
Yeah.
It's a gutsy decision. We all believe it wasn't a great play call. Now everybody will remind me it was an RPO, so it was a read pass option. I don't care what it was. It was a run play that didn't work, and it cost you the football game, so it didn't work.
Exactly.
But why didn't it work?
So, exactly. So like you said, Brent, this is a run pass option. And I'm not sure if it was Gardner Minshew's call or if it was John DeFilippo's call, but somebody said we're going to run the ball, okay? Because you know how the RPO works.
It's usually the quarterback's call.
It's usually the quarterback, but what LA did so great last year is the fact that Sean McVay, they get to the line as fast as possible. When he gets to the line as fast as possible, McVay has about 3 or 4 seconds to say, you know what, run, pass. So he's actually kind of calling what he wants Jared Goff to do. Now here, I assume this is Gardner Minshew's call because it's a 2-point conversion. They weren't rushing to the line. So all things considered, this is probably Minshew's call right now. And I understand. We're kind of in another, once again, kind of a bunch formation.
But they actually split some guys out on this one.
Well, we got one guy split out here, but there's still here's my philosophy.
And there's Conley, I think.
But here's my philosophy, and here's where teams have success in the red zone a little more. We have a guy in the slot that I think is kind of closer to the line than he is split away, right?
Fair enough.
I think if you have the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiving core, they can all beat you one-on-one, right? And if you go back to this formation, how they're set up, they had what they wanted. They had one-on-one coverage.
They did.
So from this kind of formation, you want to see picks. You want to see the screens because that's so big in the NFL right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Granted, sometimes that can get called, but to ask a corner to play one-on-one on somebody is hard enough already.
So what? You run a pick. By the way, you run a pick play here. It gets called, and then you go kick the extra point. Go to overtime.
Exactly. Yep. And you kind of saw this was like a rub play coming over here. But obviously they're on the ball, so it doesn't really matter. But my point going forward now for the Jacksonville Jaguars is to get these spread formations kind of like this and run these rub plays, run these pick plays, put the defensive backs in bad positions because you have the receivers to do it. Chris Conley, D.D. Westbrook, DJ Chark, they're all capable of being red zone targets. And also, don't forget, a lot of teams have success too in the red zone with the receiving running back. And Leonard Fournette can be that guy. Now, is he the most shifty guy? Probably not. But if you can get Leonard Fournette in some routes too as well, kind of like the Patriots love to do with James White, I feel like they can have some success there as well.
I still think to sum this up, this also, by the way, this illustration, to kind of tell you if you're not watching it, this is a little bit of a tell on the offensive line again. Now, this is week 2 offensive line where they were not as good.
Correct.
They have been getting better and better.
Yeah.
But look at, this ball started at the 2, man. Look where Leonard Fournette's got the ball now at the 4.5-yard line.
Yeah.
And the offensive line is being driven back. So they are not winning in the trenches on this play, and that does not help. This is a great individual effort by Leonard Fournette to make it even close.
Yeah.
And remember, you're kind of not even sure if he did get in or not, but reviews show that he didn't. It's a great individual effort. These guys got to do a better job up there.
Well, and you know what? And take the X's and O's out of it real quick. I want to show you 2 things that you can tell where the offensive line was struggling a little bit. And I want to go back to the second board if we can real quick.
Real quick,
back to the second board. Where's this offensive lineman's back right now? No, but being serious, where's his back?
He is actually turned toward the other end of the field, not the end zone.
Correct.
Like the back is toward the end zone.
Correct. That's reason number 1. Where's this offensive line's back right now?
That's Andrew Norwell, and he is back toward the end zone.
Exactly.
Which means he's getting spun around.
You're getting spun around. If you're 2 yards or 1 yard away from the end zone, and you're spinning backwards and your back's to the end zone, you're not a good sign. You're going to lose that battle 10 times out of 10.
All right. That's going to do it for the Wall That Says It All here down in CBS 47 and Fox 30. So much more to come on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Good illustration of the red zone with Austin Lane. One other note, by the way, how many pairs of Vans do you have? Those are red on the Wall That Says It All.
I got about a baker's dozen, Brent. I got about a baker's dozen.
See, show them. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. These things are pretty dirty, though.
Join us on ESPN 690, the radio side, in just a bit.
Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Bundle up today. It'll be breezy and chilly under partly cloudy skies. Temperatures only reaching the 50s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where you can get 20% off store-wide, including loose diamonds with special financing. Only at Beard's Diamonds.
Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
I like a really good 50% off sale, don't you? Well, get this. Arlington Toyota has slashed prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. 50% less on a car? You gotta be going to Arlington. There's still time, but only a few days remain to get to Arlington Toyota and score up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota CHR, it's not $22,660. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota CHR at Arlington. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota Tacoma? It's not $29,635. Nope. Now it's $23,888. Just $23,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Tacoma at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details. We love our pets. Our furry little friends mean so much to us that we want nothing but the best. At Forever Vets Animal Hospital, we feel the same way too. Forever Vets Animal Hospital understands that you have busy schedules. That's why we're open 7 days a week and have extended hours during the work week. In case you have an emergency, remember, stay calm and call Forever Vets Animal Hospital with 6 convenient locations throughout Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Forever Vets Animal Hospital is here for you and your pet. First-time customers receive a free pet exam from one of our highly trained veterinarians. We also offer wellness plans that fit everyone's budget. Forever Vets Animal Hospital makes life easy for you and your pet. Go to forevervets.com to schedule an appointment. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets healthy and happy forever.
Small business owners, it's been a great year, and now it's time to begin to make some end-of-year decisions. Instead of giving your hard-earned money to the tax man, consider reinvesting in your business with a quality pre-owned truck, van, or commercial work vehicle from Jacksonville Truck Center. With the largest selection of pre-owned work vehicles in North Florida and easy commercial financing, let us be your one-stop shop to get the job done today. We're on the corner of Arlington Expressway and Southside Connector. Stop by today or visit us at jacksonvilletruckcenter.com.
Right now at T-Mobile, get the best deal on the newest iPhones. 4 iPhone 11s with 4 lines, just $35 a line.
Hey, Joe, tell that squirrel story again.
Yeah, come on, Joe.
No. Oh, I have a 4K video I took on this iPhone 11.
Let's see it.
Come on, really?
Ah, bear!
I swear that squirrel looked like a bear.
This crystal clear 4K video says otherwise, Joe.
Well, I'm just happy we could contact a ranger with T-Mobile's powerful signal.
For a squirrel?
Get to a T-Mobile store today and get 4 new amazing iPhone 11s with 4 lines. Now just $35 a line with qualifying trade-ins. Switch today.
Video streams at 480p via 24 credits for well-qualified buyers. $30 plan plus $5 phone with autopay, plus taxes and fees. If you cancel, credits may stop and remaining balance due. Contact us. Qualifying credit, service, and finance agreements required. 0 down plus $29.17 times 24. Pre-credit price $699.99. 0% APR.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Nobody's saying that Jimmy Garoppolo can't play. He's got 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I know they got a good defense, because that's the only reason they ain't know right now. It ain't because of Jimmy G.
I'm NASCAR champion Kurt Busch, and you're listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I think more than anything is like handling the job, everything that comes with it, when to get in and watch your film, how to progress it through the week, how to manage, dealing with y'all, and like seriously about everything you could think of, even stuff that, you don't think of first off as, a quarterback, but everything else you got to handle. So he gave me a lot of good insight. I think the biggest thing he taught me is to be yourself. I think that's one of the things he does so well is, he's so genuine. I think guys see that, and if you're not like that, then people see through it, and you can't lead anybody.
Well, there you go. I mean, we were talking about that, right? Genuine nature of Nick Foles. And I think there's a genuine nature of young Gardner Minshew, and I think he just showed it there. That's a punch in the gut, man. You're a competitor. You played well. You played better than anybody thought you'd play. And I think of it like this. Gardner Minshew, I guess I'm old enough. Like, how old? Gardner Minshew's 24. So, John, we'd actually be old enough like that he could be like our son.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Frighteningly easily, yes.
Yeah. It would have been a scary period of time, if that did happen around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think of it from that point of view. And I think part of this is because I made that visit to Mississippi. And so I met so many of those cool people, nice people in Mississippi, his hometown, his dad included.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of pride there, man, for Gardner Minshew. And so I put a big piece together. And by the way, you can see that on YouTube, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Did this long story about our trip there and how it, all the trials that he's had, coming through, that this one won't really knock him down is the main point of the story. But all those folks are beaming with pride of this guy, but they're also probably right now saying, I like Nick Foles, good guy. He's told us he's a great guy, but he should be playing. Gardner should be playing. Gardner should be playing because of this. Look what he did. Like, he can do this. He should still. You're stunting his growth. He might be the offensive rookie of the year. Some things that people are saying around here in Jacksonville, and some people want Minshew to keep playing.
Yeah.
But they're really doing that back home in Brandon, Mississippi. And so I think of it like that. I'm trying to think like, man, they've got some good points, right? And I think the best point on Gardner Minshew playing still is, how do you remove the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL from your lineup? It's the nature of football with the position that he plays, but it's a very hard thing to do right now. Mm-hmm. Now, listen, you can vouch for Josh Jacobs or Kyler Murray, and I don't think you can for Kyler Murray, but Josh Jacobs, you can. But I would say, imagine removing him from some other player. That's a tough thing to grasp. And I even have a hard time grasping that, even though I think this is the right move to go to Foles.
Well, and then the biggest story going forward now is, like we talked about, Brent, it's the development of Gardner Minshew, because the development on the field now playing in NFL games is gone. So he can't get better that way. And if you're Gardner Minshew right now, and let's be honest, let's just call a spade a spade. They basically said, you know what? You did good for us. You're a rookie quarterback. You could be the rookie of the year or whatever, but you didn't do good enough to keep that job. So in a way, you kind of failed a little bit. So you have to sit now. And if you're Gardner Minshew, and I don't know exactly his personality, if he's a super emotional guy or if he's more of just kind of the even keel guy. I want to say more even keel, but whatever it is. But talking to his dad and, Flint and everybody and the people that have been around him, I'm curious to see how he responds to this, because I don't call it a setback, Brent, because the writing was kind of on the wall, but how he responds to getting benched and having to sit on the bench and watch Foles now, and does he use that to his advantage?
I look at it entirely differently. This might be the first time Austin and I disagree on something, but here's what I would say.
You've been afraid of him for a long time.
I know, you're right. I'm actually.
He's got all these tattoos.
I'm a teddy bear, dude. I'm scooting over. I'm scooting over here. Good. I'm scooting over here. It's all good.
Here's the deal. Here's the way I look at it, and it's simple to me. It's not that he failed and didn't win the job. It's that this person, it's who you're comparing him to, and you're saying, yeah, he might be the rookie of the year, but he's a rookie quarterback. You have a veteran who's proven and has won the Super Bowl, for heaven's sakes, who's coming back to take his position that you paid him $25 million a year to play. That's not a failure. That's just where he is right now. That's not a failure at all. I think he's been a huge success. And I'll say one other thing, and that tells me this kid's going to be just fine. And that is what he said when asked about, have you ever been through something like this before where you had it and now it's gone? And he said something to the effect of, oh, yeah, I've learned how to be a real leader, not to just lead when it's easy, but to lead when it's hard. That is leadership. That is exactly why this kid's going to be fantastic, whether it's next year or next game because Foles gets hurt again. He's going to be fantastic, and he hasn't failed at all, in my opinion. He's done wonderfully, and I guess the question I would have is, you say that by not playing, you're stunting his growth. Is that true? Again, I've never played quarterback in the NFL. I've never been in the NFL, but you see these guys who have come and watched professional quarterbacks work, and then when it's their turn, come in there and they're professional quarterbacks without really any experience. So how can you say, he's had the experience. Now he gets to sit back and watch a pro work and go, oh yeah, when I tried that, this is what happened, and this worked, and this did. To me, it seems like he could still grow. Now, if it was this way for 2 seasons, that might be a different story, but for however many games are left, 6 games that are left.
7 games. Yeah.
7 games that are left. It doesn't necessarily have to be a stunting, but maybe it does. I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, John. Like, we haven't seen a lot of scenarios play out like this because usually when the rookie comes in and performs very well, like he may be the rookie of the year, they keep him. They keep him in, the whole season. So when we say stunt your growth, yeah, it's not like a situation like Aaron Rodgers was or Patrick Mahomes was where they sat a couple years. Well, Patrick Mahomes sat a year, but where they sit behind somebody, they learn from them, and then they go in. Well, with Gardner Minshew, it was different where he couldn't really learn. He had to go in right away. He flashed. He performed pretty well. And then all of a sudden they had to cap him off and say, you know what, you did good, but now you got to sit again. So when we say stunt your growth, it's like, well, the growth was there already, but now you're capping it off and saying, we're going to go in a different direction, and you just got to ask yourself, will that maybe hurt his confidence, hurt his mentality, and is the guy that you're capping off now, is that guy going to be gone? That's all I'm getting to.
I think, listen, you can.
And it's hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say, and therefore you can create some evidence and talk yourself into and spin it kind of whatever way you want to lean. Could it stunt his growth? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Could it really help him? Absolutely. I think the way Sunshine and Rainbows Club will look at it is that
I'm a member.
Well, because here's the deal, and this is through experience
Sunshine
now in
Rainbows.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
This is Blaine Gabbert, who got shell-shocked and couldn't recover. Mm-hmm. This is Blake Bortles, who kind of got shell-shocked at times that rookie year, but actually wasn't scarred from it. He bounced back, and I never felt like there was this hangover from being sacked a million times his rookie year and throwing picks and all that kind of stuff, and this introduction to the NFL by fire that stuck with him and stunted anything that Blake did. Mm-hmm. So he handled it well. Blaine Gabbert, I thought, was shell-shocked by it, and I'm not sure has ever recovered. Mm-hmm. I just think he didn't recover. He was not put in a position to be successful. So I could spin it as like, you know what? This guy had some really good moments. He had a really bad moment late, and he had some just okay moments. So he had kind of the gamut of what you would expect a rookie quarterback to do, because I continue to say, as much as he exceeded expectation, there's a difference between exceeding expectation and playing great football. Gardner Minshew did not play great football the last 2 months. That would be an overstatement. He played great football at times, played very good football at times, good football at times, and probably not so good football at times. But overall, he far exceeded expectation and did an admirable job and should be applauded for it. But now I do wonder if you take that sample of a little bit of everything, where some confidence, like, I can do this, man. I can play in this game, and confidence from his teammates, and now you do sit that on the bench, and you say, okay, go learn, because you know what? The ideal situation, every coach, every GM would say, I don't care if you had Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. If I could do what Kansas City did and sit behind Alex Smith for a year, even with that supreme talent of Patrick Mahomes, I would do it that way. So now he gets a little bit of the best of both worlds. He got a little taste of it, and now he gets to sit down and learn a little bit and see what he could do better and how he could grow. Again, a little sunshine and rainbows to it, but why can't that also be beneficial? And we will have no idea, because
we'll only know next year or whenever we get to see him next.
And we might not see him again this year, so we have no idea what would be better or not, but I think we can always spin it, and I think they will spin it, and I think Gardner Minshew will think positively and spin it that way for the remainder of this season and going forward in his career.
Here, listen, I'll put it in a personal experience. When I was in Atlanta, I was relatively new to Atlanta. I was hired to be the weekend anchor. Okay, so I did that. Well, I also, because of who else was there or who wasn't there, circumstances, I got to fill in for the main anchor, legendary John Pruitt, on a fairly regular basis, which when things are going smoothly is not that big a deal. But when, breaking news happens and, the proverbial poop hits the fan, that's when you need your quarterback with experience. Yeah. And I didn't have it. I didn't have much anchoring experience. And I felt it when the proverbial poop hits the fan. So they in their wisdom brought in, when it was time for John Pruitt to retire, the wheels were already in place. It wasn't that I failed, but they were bringing in somebody with more experience in the anchor chair to replace him. Now, was I mad when I didn't get that job? Absolutely, I was mad because I wanted it. That's what I was working towards. Yep. But I wasn't really ready. Now, I'm not comparing myself to Minshew by any means, but I needed more time. And so then the next thing happened, and I get, a different job. And now here I am, the main anchor, if you want to, starting quarterback, if you want to compare the two.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my point is that if given, this opportunity and he takes it, like you said, with the right attitude and learns from what he can improve upon, he could easily be the next starting quarterback for the Jaguars when that time comes for a long time. And I love what he's made of. It seemingly he's saying everything the right way. I don't know him.
There's a maturity about him for a 24-year-old guy going through some of this stuff. It's not easy to go through it.
No.
You can convince yourself. One last thing on that thought, and then we got to get to John, let him go. But I do think there's a little bit of Minshew, and if you hear it in his voice, and if you really see the video of it, that is still kicking himself to a degree. Because we talked about this a little bit last night after the show. We're talking in the newsroom about all the storylines the Jags have had, yet it feels like the balloon has been popped on the storylines. I mean, we've had storylines galore. Great for ESPN 690 in our first year. But from Ramsey to Minshew to Foles to Yannick Ngakoue to Telvin Smith, all of a sudden the last 2 weeks it's been like, what's going on with the Jags?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you do that, Doug Marrone? You didn't even make this kind of controversial or leave us hanging.
He didn't drag it out for a week so that you could talk about it on the bye week.
So, I mean,
that's why he did it.
Yeah, so that was a little bit why he did it. But why I say he's kicking himself is because if he had that moment against Houston and London, he won, at least in his own mind, and because we don't know the answer to this, and we might not ever know unless Doug writes it in a book someday, if he had played well, if they had won that game, what's this look like here on this Wednesday going in Indianapolis? What's the decision look like? What would it have been? And even if it is still the same decision, which I don't know if it would have been or not. I kind of feel like if he had won that game, they would have kept him for another week leading this football team. But even though we don't look, there would have been a lot of controversy about it. See, that's why the balloon popped on the discussion, because Doug said he played bad. Doug announced Foles, and it was like, well, I can't really argue it. He just threw like two interceptions and fumbled twice in the fourth quarter of a game they really needed to win. Yeah, that's probably right. Let's go to Foles. But otherwise, if he had played great, Marrone still makes that decision. They go to Foles. We would have controversy daily. We would have the debate daily. Is Doug doing the right thing? Is this the right decision? You think you should stay with Foles, Minshew. I say, let's go to Foles. We don't have that here. And so I think he's kind of kicking himself right now. He's still almost in a little bit of that hangover.
I made it too easy on Coach.
Yeah. I had made it so hard on him up until this point, but when it was decision time, damn it, I didn't get it done in that one spot.
But that comes with seasoning, right? I mean, in my opinion, that's exactly why maybe he will benefit from watching and learning a little bit.
I'll say this real quick too. What I'm excited for training camp now is we're gonna have a quarterback battle, and that's not something you can say for the Jacksonville Jaguars going into a training camp in a long time here, Brent.
Well, and we can do ifs and buts just like the college football playoff rankings too, and have fun with this. The only way I don't know if we have a quarterback battle is if Foles goes 6-1 down the stretch here and gets him into the playoffs. And says, hey, I told you all along this was my team.
Right.
Right. Sorry, young fella, but you might have to sit a little bit longer.
That's right.
Fair enough.
But you know what? Again, and I don't know what the Jags are planning, but I wouldn't be, as a Jags fan, I wouldn't be upset with that if he had to sit one more year after all this.
I don't think Jags fans should be upset with anything. I feel like they have two
but I mean,
quarterbacks.
I agree. I just mean as opposed to saying, well, we could trade him and see what we get. I would not want to see that because I think long term he could be the answer.
I still sit here right now and say 2020 training camp, we do have that kind of battle of some sort because I think both guys are on the roster, and I'm not sure everybody agrees with that, but I think both guys are on this roster in 2020 going into the season.
I think the only reason they wouldn't be is if Foles has trouble.
All right, you've been hanging out with us a long time.
I know, thanks for having
coming
me.
up, CBS 47, Fox 30 tonight. What's the latest on the Taylor Williams situation?
We've got yesterday was huge, and you'd think, well, okay, we've got it all. Well, the arrest warrant we've got access to that now, which details some more parts of this investigation, which, of course are going to be troubling, So, but there is some information in there that is worth looking at. And we had this discussion in our meeting today. I'll try to keep this more positive. And that is, after hearing the details we're going to outline for you coming up at 5 o'clock on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax, I hope people who see it will start asking questions like, what are we doing as a community? Like, the systems were in place. The Navy has a formula for if you are a single parent and, if you have to be deployed, the Navy makes sure you have either family or a plan in place, right? Mm-hmm. They have a plan for you, and they have resources for you to take advantage of if you have childcare issues, right? And then the state has resources for you, and there are resources available, right? So the question becomes, how can a child? This warrant will outline there was basically a month where
nobody knew.
We didn't know where this child was. How, as a society, is that possible? Yeah. And yet, it is scary when you really look at it. How easy that is, especially for a transient society that we have, and people are coming and going out of apartments, and you don't really know your neighbors like you used to. You're not sitting on the front porch going, "Hey, Bob. Hey, Jim." It's just not that way anymore. Yeah. And it is, in my opinion, scary to think just how really easy something like this is to go unnoticed.
Well, the other thing, John, too, I think it's listen to you talk about it, and it'll be interesting to see the details tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30 as you learn more and more about the situation. But as scary of a world this is, as at times, as negative as it is, I still get the sense, at least in my bubble that I live in, it feels like a very still trustworthy, assume the right thing, the good things are happening, and not try to look at it that way all the time with other people's lives in your neighborhoods and things like that, And while you want to be on alert and all those things, you don't sit there and you never draw this situation like something could be terribly wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, I think it takes you a while to get there unless there's hard evidence.
In this warrant, it outlines, I know you don't want to spend your whole day talking about this, but in this warrant, it outlines basically that a neighbor at this apartment complex stated that they saw her multiple times unattended and wandering, whatever, and stated that they even walked her back to her place and made sure she was okay and everything else, which is great. And probably what most of us would do. But then it begs the question, is there another step that needed to be taken? And I'm not pointing, there's only,
looks like one finger to be
looks like one finger that can be pointed at one place. So I by no means am blaming anyone here at all. But I guess as a society, it makes you kind of step back and go, okay, are we really doing all we should be to look out for our neighbors and, more importantly, our neighbors' children and the children that we are coming in contact? And so what we're trying to do, and I think what I hope we're going to accomplish tonight, later, maybe not at 5 and 6, but certainly at 10 and 11, is to examine the resources and to maybe even get some warning signs out there so people like you and me who are coming in contact with kids, and we may not even realize the kids that are in bad situations. Yeah. What is it about that we might be able to spot? And then who do we call? What do we do? That's the kind of stuff that I hope we'll get across at 10 and 11 tonight, beyond when we get through some of the stuff at 5 and 6.
Yeah, and as isolated as this seems, it's still an important discussion, because
Absolutely.
you don't want one's too many.
One is too many. That's right.
It's an unbelievable case.
Yeah.
More on CBS 47 and Fox 30. John Bachman, Tanika Hughes, Mike Burrish do a great job, and we'll have on the TV side as well tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30 on sports. we'll have Action Sports Jax. Thanks for joining us, man.
Bartram Creekside soccer tonight, too, by the way.
Oh, where is that?
At Creekside.
At Creekside.
Start the season with
that's like the second
rival
match?
Game. Huh?
John's daughter, by the way, plays the varsity team at Bartram.
I know, yeah.
Freshman, too.
I'm aware.
So
I was here when he announced it.
Yeah. Did he?
I didn't actually announce that
for that?
Yeah,
come on.
No, but he said that you got a phone call. You told Brent that your daughter made
Stop
the varsity team.
This is no criticism. If Ty and Kaylee are on the varsity softball and baseball team, I will have a damn press conference.
No, that's fine.
All right.
Gosh, my daughter's gonna kill me now. Just so you guys know,
tell her it's my fault.
But anyway, I do recall you being proud of her and saying that she was a
proud of
freshman
her.
in the varsity
I
team.
am very proud of her.
In fact, I was a little pissed off at you that you didn't tell me last Thursday night how they did against Stanton.
They won.
There you go.
But it was a preseason game. It doesn't count.
So this is the actual
Today
opener.
is the day that the season starts, and they're starting it against rival Creekside. So, I mean.
And where did you say that was? At Creekside?
At Creekside.
7 o'clock?
7:20, I think, is actual.
Might have to get over that.
Check your local listings. I like it.
Yeah.
Hey. We waved the Knights flag in my house.
That's right.
All right?
That's right. That's
Go
right.
Creekside.
That's right.
Fair enough. Hey, and if you're waving the flag, I'm waving the flag too, man. I'm on board. Let's go.
All right, man. Have a good one. We'll
All
see
right, guys. Thanks so much.
Man, we'll be back. We got Ball on the phone. We have Ryan O'Halloran around the NFL, Colin Kaepernick situation, more on the college football playoffs. We got a lot to get to. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Happy hump day. The Jags are ready to get back on the horse this weekend, and this case, it's a Colt. They play the Indianapolis Colts with a chance to pull even with their record in the division. Coach Marrone knows that this will be a challenge.
They play extremely hard. Really good east to west, north to south, good up front. They make you earn everything that you have.
And this weekend, controversial quarterback Colin Kaepernick will be doing a workout for all 30 teams in Atlanta. It's to show his football readiness to see if anybody wants to sign him. The NFL is putting it on, and there will not only be drills, but an interview as well. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices, premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus with locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
This season, our team will have the best defense in the league. For your home, the best defense is a fence from Armstrong Fence Company. When it comes to home fences, Jacksonville owners trust Armstrong Fence Company. Visit Armstrong-Fence.com. That's Armstrong-Fence.com. Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
The holidays are on the horizon. That means family and food. Hey, everybody, I'm Brent Morton. Let Renna's Pizza help you out. Parties at school, parties at work, celebrations, or maybe you're just tired of cooking yourself. Renna's has you covered with 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Want a fresh one? Renna's makes everything fresh. New York-style pizza, sandwiches, salads, and pasta dishes. Everything fresh. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community while continuing their full-time careers or education to help keep our nation safe at home and around the globe. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, it helped me pay for my house.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
I just love this time of year, don't you, boss?
Love? Love is not the word I'd use.
Oh, come on, boss. It's the time of year to be thankful. Aren't you thankful the weather's cool enough at least?
Well, I noticed you sweat less, so yeah, I'm thankful.
See?
I'm also thankful that we found a house without safe touch security and that the homeowners are out of town soon.
Yeah, that reminds me. That house is out.
What?
Yeah, I saw they had safe touch installing a new system just yesterday.
Oh, well, what about that house next door? They didn't have safe.
Nope. Safe touch got them too. Guess it was a twofer that day.
You know, I was just starting to get into the thankful spirit until you brought up safe touch security.
Sorry, boss. We still have a lot to be thankful for.
I'd be thankful if you truly found me a house without safe touch.
I'm on it, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Honda of the Avenues is the Honda Giant with close to 700 new Hondas and quality pre-owned vehicles and award-winning service department. Jacksonville's car buyers have options and they want your car shopping experience to be fast, fun, and hassle-free. That's what you'll get on every visit, every time. Put Honda of the Avenues to the test and let them show you a fresh new approach to car shopping at Honda of the Avenues, online at HondaoftheAvenues.com. The Honda Giant.
Who sells loose diamonds at 20% off?
Nobody in the St. John's Town Center except Beard's Diamonds.
Right now, you can save 20% on everything in the store, including loose diamonds. 20% off all diamond engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, and more.
And it's not just rings and bracelets at 20% off. Everything store-wide, including loose diamonds.
At 20% off.
Beard's Diamonds, where exceptional is affordable.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Attention men and women. If you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
I like a really good 50% off sale, don't you? Well, get this. Arlington Toyota has slashed prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. 50% less on a car? You gotta be going to Arlington. There's still time, but only a few days remain to get to Arlington Toyota and score up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander, it's not $35,000. Now it's $24,688. That's $24,688 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota RAV4, it's not $29,865. Nope. Now it's $21,888. Just $21,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
And we'll continue to talk about Leonard, but he hammers people on Twitter. Heck, if Doug Marrone was on Twitter, he'd probably rib him too. Yeah. I mean, it's he can get away with it.
Catch Brent and Austin weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690 or ESPN690.com.
Hey, it's Dan Le Batard from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Disappointed a little bit, obviously, because everybody wants to be that guy in the huddle. But you know what? If you'd told me in the beginning of the year that I'd get to play half a season and then be able to learn, I said I'll take that deal 100%. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of good experience, and I'm also going to be able to learn from one of the best dudes in the business.
Great outlook from Gardner Minshew. I mean, saying all the right things. I think it's, but I think that's a genuine reaction. I think that's a good way to look back after he's had the week off. And in that sense, it was a really good idea by Doug Marrone to get this out of the way, give him time to stew over it a little bit, and reflect on what has been a pretty good 2 months. By the way, I do think Gardner Minshew was beat up a little bit. You know, I mean, yeah. Everybody is, right? 2 months in the year. But, I mean, he had some things. He had shoulder. He had the groin. He had, what do you have, a hip or something like that, I think it was, at some point.
Hip or hamstring?
Maybe it was a hammy.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, he's got a chance now to, it's been a long, I always say this about these guys. It's become cliche for me to say, but it's a long year for the rookies. You know, we started with Gardner Minshew back at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he has the combine, and then the stress of all that, and never really getting a break coming out of your college season. He gets a little bit of a, he doesn't necessarily get a break.
Yeah.
But in theory, he will now get a little bit of a rest from at least getting his body hit, week in and week out.
I mean, you say this, but guess what? Every rookie in that locker room right now, if you go ask them, how you feeling? You kind of sore a little bit? How you feeling from the combine workouts and everything? They'll all tell you the same thing, that they're exhausted, they're tired, and thank God for that bye week, but they're not 100%.
Yeah.
And if any rookie in that locker room tells you that, either number one, A, they're a kicker, or B, they're lying to you. Simple as that. So
long snapper.
Or no, because long snappers. Hey, that's a hey. No. Hey, I'm not trying to hate on the kicker.
Overton. Sorry.
Not trying to hate on the kickers. Now, Scobie, I got much love for you, man. You know that. But I'm just saying, your first year in the NFL, it's probably a little more easier, probably a little more cruise control-ish than it is being a defensive lineman or some other position like that.
Yeah, the only thing I believe in, and some guys, it'd be a great study to see where the rookie wall does hit from a numbers standpoint overall. But then I think you get guys that are just oblivious to it. It just doesn't matter. And Josh Allen might be one of those guys. Josh Allen might be such a freaky athlete that he could just go for days and days and hours and months. And now, again, would he be better with a little? But keep in mind now, they did a nice job with Josh Allen. Give him a lot of credit. Josh Allen, what they did with him in terms of the spring, when he was a little banged up, early part of August, they kind of let him just get into the flow of things. And I think that was a nice move on their part. It might pay dividends late in the season, even though I think it doesn't matter. I think he's such a freaky athlete that he can probably just go at his age. And if he has to play until March, it doesn't matter.
Well, and then let's be honest, Brent, it also begs the question with Doug Marrone's philosophy this year of, kind of taking it easy, kind of easing up on those reins a little bit in training camp. I mean, does that have a direct correlation to where the Jaguars are at right now? Because if we look at after that bye week, there is not one guy. Well, and I guess they've had injuries. Marquise Lee's out for the season. We kind of went over the list to start out the week. But overall, right now, no one's on that injury report. Everybody is practicing. Now, Jake Ryan's, he's coming back himself. But overall, you would absolutely take right now where the Jacksonville Jaguars are as far as injuries are concerned. And you have to ask the question. And I think Doug Marrone got a lot of flack for this, a lot of heat of it during training camp. But maybe does Doug Marrone have a point where easing the reins off in training camp, it has benefits towards, the middle of the season, towards the back nine of the season when it's so important to win those ball games.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I was going next for the next couple of minutes. We're going to have Ryan O'Halloran join us. We'll talk Kaepernick, talk about the rest of the NFL, all those things coming up, and still a lot more to get into before the end of the show. But I'm glad you went there because we touched on this yesterday, and the more and more I thought about it, the more and more relevant that becomes. I think you have to go back. If follow along here and go back to last year and think about the injuries. Holy cow, man. And this is an excuse. I mean, you can tell me Blake Bortles. I probably tried to use that excuse for Blake Bortles at times. Like, who could run this offense right now? And I believe that. But like Cody Kessler, when he got in there, guy had no chance. Who was playing football with them on the offensive side of the ball? I did say this last year. Go back and look in December, say, late November, December. Who was playing football for the Jaguars on offense? And I'm not sure Joe Montana could have got him to 20 points. I'm telling you, it was dire straits. Now, had Blake already faltered by then? Had the train left the station, all that kind of? Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying the whole season was injuries, but it was a lot of it, man. When you play 16 offensive linemen, people hate to use injuries. 16 offensive linemen. Think about that. You're supposed to play 5. And now you juxtapose that with what is happening here. And you've lost, we said it yesterday, Marcel Darius. You've lost Marquise Lee. And you've lost James O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah. And guess what? Those are going to happen. This is football at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how much you ease up off the reins. Those things happen, man. That's just the game. That's the way it works sometimes.
And so you give Doug Marrone credit, and I do too. Because here's where I give Doug Marrone credit, and this was really my question. It's like, should the Jags get some credit? Because a lot of times people will say, like last year when they get hurt a lot, or guys go out in August, right? And remember, everybody was hurting for the first 2.5 weeks.
They weren't training hard enough. That's what I heard.
Or criticism for the medical staff, criticism for the training staff, criticism for the grass or the turf. Or it's got to be somebody's fault, right? Well, so now does somebody get credit? Does the medical staff, the training staff, Doug Marrone, how they handled this, like you said, do they get credit? And I think they should. If we're going to at least say, okay, there's going to be a factor there, they should get some credit for this as well. I think Doug Marrone deserves some credit for 2 reasons. One, he listened to the players. He listened to the players coming out of last year with all those injuries. And I think they said their part and said, I don't know if we can do this and be healthy in November and December. And I'm not sure that's exactly how the conversation went, but I think that's how it went. And then he did another thing. I still don't believe Tom Coughlin would have run it this way.
No, without a doubt.
And so he said, I'm doing it my way.
And you have to ask yourself the question. If you go back to training camp and you say right now the Jaguars are 4-5, 9 games in, and your starting quarterback goes out the second drive of the series, you'd probably take that with everybody being healthy as well. And that's where they're at right now. That's the most important part.
Bottom line, does it translate to winning games?
We'll
now they
find out.
got to pay Doug back, and they got to go win some football games. When we come back, Ryan O'Halloran, Colin Kaepernick, the rest of the NFL, all on the way. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, you'll get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
New flavors and a rating that would make man jealous. Hey everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brett Martineau. Vita de Louis recently got a 98 rating. It's new, and it's getting rave reviews.
Made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Vita de Louis is available in 3 flavors.
And those flavors are Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. Try all 3. Make your own recipes with Vita de Louis Tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. For merchandise and more, visit VitaDeLouis.com.
Planet Fitness's 25-cent sale is back. Join by November 13th for just 25 cents down with no commitment. Tons of cardio machines, free weights, and strength equipment? Check. Free fitness training and a 30-minute circuit? You got it. Spacious and supportive environment? Boom. Join Planet Fitness for just 25 cents down, $10 a month with no commitment. Hurry, this deal ends Wednesday, November 13th. So join today in club or at planetfitness.com. Annual membership fee applies. Planet Fitness clubs are independently owned and operated. See club for details.
Hey, it's Trey Wingo from Golic and Wingo, and you're listening to ESPN 690.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. 6 teams, the Dolphins, Lions, Buccaneers, Redskins, Broncos, and Falcons, confirmed as those that will attend Saturday's workout of free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick in Atlanta. ESPN's Ed Werder reporting Cowboys plan to attend as well. A request by Kaepernick's reps to hold the workout on a Tuesday denied by the league. Almost all NFL workouts are held on Tuesdays to allow coaches and GMs to attend. Skepticism over the workout is understandable, says ESPN's Marcus Spears.
At the end of the day, when you're serious about something, go to all of these pro days and go to these combines. It's general managers and head coaches there. If you're making a decision to bring a guy on your team, I don't think it's far-fetched for anybody to speculate what the seriousness of Colin Kaepernick actually being on a roster is with the way things are happening.
From ESPN's Adam Schefter, Saints guard Andres Pete expected to miss 6 weeks after surgery on a broken arm. Jets CEO Chris Johnson said Coach Adam Gase will return next season. Ohio State star defensive lineman Chase Young will miss one more game for an NCAA rules violation, then return November 23rd against Penn State.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
For a team, it'll be a fair question to ask. The first day you stand up in front of that media, what are you going to say? That's going to be the biggest thing, right? When you sign Colin Kaepernick, is that quote-unquote distraction that they have to do their due diligence and understand that and say, okay, where are we now? They wouldn't sign him before when it was, like touching a hot stove as far as what he was.
Reactor.
Exactly. So they're going to be fair to touch it again and say, okay, where are we now?
Well, that's Mike Golick and Wingo every morning here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Or really just on ESPN 690. Our show's Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Golick and Wingo every morning, though, 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. And Mike Golick's comments on the Colin Kaepernick situation. Let's talk more about it. We briefly talked about it yesterday at the end of the show when this came down. But there's been a lot of different twists and turns to the stories right now. And we bring in Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post. We'll talk all about the NFL. Of course, covers the Denver Broncos coming off a bye week as well. But first, let's begin with Kaepernick. What's up, Rhino?
Hey, fellas. How are we doing today?
Doing fantastic. All right, man, what's your take on this? This is somewhat fresh, about 24 hours old. What's your take on the Colin Kaepernick workout this weekend?
Well, my thing is, if you're from Kaepernick's camp, what took so long? He's been out of the league now going 3 years. Was there any movement on their part or the league's part to have some kind of showcase like this a year ago, 2 years ago? That said, okay, now they're having it. It feels like a rush job. All these workouts are usually on Tuesdays. A lot of people would have been able to get to Atlanta for them. Now I know at least one team here, and that's the Broncos, is, hey, okay, they're supposed to scout all these college games on Saturday. They're trying to rearrange one of their guys to get there. Every team's going to be there because I think Roger Goodell's going to make sure that every team is there.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You don't want to be the one team in the headline that says, Team A boycotts the workout.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, though. I mean, this is for lack of anything else. Maybe it's an opportunity for Kaepernick, and it sure looks that way. It could be. But it definitely is a public perception play, both on part of the NFL and on the 32 teams, if they do show, don't show, how they react, all these kind of things. So there's a lot going on here. This isn't just about football. This isn't just about giving Kaepernick an opportunity. There's a lot of the underbelly going on in this whole situation, and I think everybody's got to look at this, not only how they approach it and go to it on Saturday, but how they come out of it with the headlines all across the country on Sunday and Monday.
Well, and, chances are he's not going to be signed. If I'm a team and I'm interested in him as a backup, he is not going to be a starter because he hasn't played in forever. And last time he did start, he went 1-10. Is, hey, liked your workout. Once the season's over, you want to bring you in for a visit. If that goes well, sign you. There's no way he can help a team this year. The goal for him should be plant the seed with a couple of teams and say, hey, after the holidays, once the regular season's over, when rosters can expand again to 90 players, pick out a situation that feels like he can succeed. he can't be picky. I've contended I don't know how much really he wants to play, or else he would have taken one of these backup jobs to re-kickstart his career. And 3 years ago, he was here in Denver. The Broncos and 49ers were talking about a trade for Kaepernick. Broncos had cap problems. They wanted to say, hey, we'll cut your salary in half. Kaepernick declined from like 14 to 7. So that trade didn't happen. A lot of the liberal pandering media in this country, most of them cover the NFL on a daily basis, thought, well, they're just being unfair to the player. The player in this instant can't be choosy. He's got to be able to find a situation and see if he can still play.
Ryan, from my perspective, and to me, this isn't like a tryout for an NFL team, right? Because this is more of like the combine workout. He's going to work out in front of 32 teams, and we see this all the time with college quarterbacks. The difference, though, from the college quarterbacks to the Kaepernick situation is a big one in the fact that no media is going to be in attendance for this. That's obviously by design, right? Because they don't want the media to say, well, he looked pretty good out there, and now a team doesn't sign him. So,
they also don't want the circus. I think there's two parts to that.
Okay. I'll give that to you. But my second,
I mean, I get it. I think you're right, but I also think, you want him to work out. If you got 100, hey, if we could go, everybody would go. I'm not saying we, but national media, everybody would be there.
Sure.
And so then it becomes a circus more than a workout.
But define circus. Like, he doesn't have to answer the questions, but there's just going to be a lot of people there watching him. There's a lot of people at Alabama Pro Day.
Well, if you invite the media, you probably have to make them available to answer questions, is my point, too.
Maybe, but I feel like he can
if I was him, Austin, I would embrace that.
Yeah, absolutely. But is that his doing, or is that the NFL's doing, is my point here. And then my second follow-up question is, truthfully, does the NFL want Kaepernick to come out here and fail because then he can kind of just go away because they're not going to sign him? They can be like, well, he had his shot. He didn't do well at his workout, so let's just wash our hands now of Colin Kaepernick.
Well, I think maybe there's some of that from the NFL. They've already admitted guilt with settling the collusion case. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're the league, you're saying, okay, people are still accusing us of colluding even though the case is not even active. Well, let's just set something up. And in terms of opening it up to whatever, I would like for them to be something afterwards, even if you're not going to have the workout open, where there can be some video of the workout. But if I'm Kaepernick, I want as many people as humanly possible at that facility so I can reset my narrative. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen after this workout is when you have 32 teams there, you got loose lips. Somebody's going to be saying either one or two things. Hey, he looked like he's ready to go, or B, he's probably just a backup at this point. So he has not really, maybe I'm in the minority here, he has not really handled any of this well. Mm-hmm. It's time to sort of take the narrative over and see if he really wants to play. And if I'm a team and I want to talk to him, that's the first question I ask. Yeah. Are you willing to come in and compete? Are you willing to come in and compete for a second-team job?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's, I saw some of the numbers. I think ESPN had them last night. 110 quarterbacks have played in the NFL since Kaepernick last took a snap. There's a chance Brian Hoyer plays for the Indianapolis Colts as a third-string guy. And, no disrespect to Hoyer, but if I'm a fan, if I'm a teammate, I'd probably rather see what a guy like Kaepernick has than Hoyer. I kind of know what he's got. So, is all those narratives and things and that take place. I've got two questions for you guys. I want to paint it two different ways. And be interested to see where you come down on it. By the way, Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post with us here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. And we're talking about the Colin Kaepernick situation, a workout this Saturday where all teams are invited. Video will be made available if the teams don't show up, set up by the NFL. Certainly much debate on how this was set up, the short order, usually on Tuesdays rather than on this Saturday. All fair arguments, too. Do you want to see Kaepernick on a roster? Got the question for both of you.
Sure, because there's no question that he was on his way to a great career. He was a victim of circumstance in San Francisco. Jim Harbaugh left. Jim Tomsula came in, was a disaster. Chip Kelly came in, was a disaster. All of a sudden, we find Kaepernick cut. So a team has to have a strong locker room and a fearless ownership. They're going to be able to take the criticism that's going to come their way. But I have no rooting interest in him. I would like to see him on a roster just to see if he can play.
Yeah, yes, I would. And it's pretty cut and dry for me. I think that a lot of NFL players who do things wrong, and you know how I stand on a lot of those issues, Brent, and we don't have to get into them right now, but there's a lot of NFL players there that have been convicted guilty of a lot of things, and they don't really miss a beat. You know, they sit out 4 games, another team picks him up and says, you know what, this guy's still a good player, so I want to have him on our team to win games. I think Colin Kaepernick, if he comes out here, performs well, he gives you an opportunity to win games, and I think with his past and everything that he's done, while it may be misguided and may be misinterpreted, I would put that far above what some other NFL players have done that have still got second chances. So, yes, I want to see Colin Kaepernick play again.
Okay, here's the second.
Hey, Austin, and one more thing, Brent, real quick. Austin hit the key word there, misguided. I don't know what kind of advice he's been getting over the last couple of years, but I think it's been the wrong advice. He should have treated this like he was being he never went public to say, hey, here's my side. He never, by all accounts, he never went to a team owner during one of these interviews or trials and said, hey, I think I've made my point. I'm still going to be a proponent for justice. But if you're not comfortable with me kneeling, that's not going to be a deal breaker. Instead, all you had to do is guess what he's thinking. So I think he got bad advice throughout this.
Well, I will say, and I've said this on the Kaepernick stuff before too, and I think I kind of agree with you, Ryan, in terms of this. Why hasn't he done an interview? Why hasn't he done anything with Rinaldi or Stephen A. Smith or name your guy, right? Name your CBS morning show, your Fox show, your whatever NFL Network show, and done anything and say, I want to play. I want to play. Yes, I want to also raise awareness for social injustice. I want to continue to do this work, and I believe in it, and I'm passionate about it, but I love football, and I want to play. And to Ryan's point, I other than ads coming out with Nike and those kind of things, we really haven't seen that. Have we seen an illustration? Am I missing that?
But what is that going to do, Brent? Because it's one thing to have an agent or have somebody in your corner call teams and be like, Colin Kaepernick's ready to go right now. He's working out. He looks great. Let's get him on a team. Let's get him for a tryout. Let's do that. Do you think a team's just going to go and all of a sudden say, oh, Colin Kaepernick was on ESPN and he's very well spoken. It sounds like he wants to play again. Do you think an NFL team's going to see that and be like, whoa, now we got to sign him because he's out in the public?
No, but okay.
100%.
You think so?
The majority of people who are owning these NFL teams are old and white, period. And they would see that and say, they would go to their GM, hey, it looks like he's like, being, more spoke, he's going public with his desire to say, hey, this was my point. This is what I tried to prove, but I'm open to playing football again. Don't underestimate that perception that could have planted a seed with an owner.
Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post with us. You know what? But even if it doesn't, guys, I'm going to pose my second question to you because this is one that I really don't know. And this is why I would like to hear him talk so I could get a better understanding whether I feel it or not because he's been so quiet. My question is, do you really think Colin Kaepernick wants to play in the NFL again? And hold on for a second. Mm-hmm. The reason why I say that is there's many people believe, and I think I'm probably in this camp, that as history writes itself here on Colin Kaepernick, he is probably better off from a platform standpoint, from a guy that may have helped change things or at least brought things to attention or at least as part of the history book of football, not playing again. And I wonder how much he understands that and where does that outweigh his love, passion to want to play football again. That's why I say, why hasn't he talked to him? I don't know that answer. And so I guess I'll ask you guys, do you think he really wants to play football again? Or is the platform better if he really doesn't play in the NFL again?
Austin, real quick for me, I think he does want to play, but only on his terms. That's the mistake he's making.
And I completely agree. I think he wants to play as well, but he's kind of seen the game where it's like, you know what, there was collusion to try to get him out of the NFL for his beliefs and what he tried to stand up for, and I think that kind of left a bad taste in his mouth. So it's like Ryan said. I think he wants to be on his terms.
Yeah, and that's a tough spot to be in, right? I mean, if you're trying to get back on
I'll be honest, it's not the winning spot to be in because I get it. You want to be on your own terms, and that's right for you to think that because I get it, the collusion and everything, but no NFL player is going to run the show. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Antonio Brown case in a way, guys. It's like Antonio Brown can maybe say, I want to do things on my own terms, but how has that worked out? And that guy is an unbelievable football player.
Brent, but to be fair, though, when he said he wants to, do things on his own terms, well, he did because Oakland signed him after he said that.
Well, he did, but now he's out of the game and might not be coming back in.
But he still got $30 million from Oakland. I mean,
as long as he wins in court.
Well, yeah, but it was his. Okay, I get that, but it was his choice to leave Oakland. Like he could have just kept his mouth shut, stayed in Oakland, and won the day.
Yeah.
And what he did would have proved to be genius of what he did. Because look, guess what? You get an extra $30 million. He said that he wanted the team that takes him to play by his rules. And all theoretically, the Oakland Raiders did that. Now, it didn't work out in the end, but they still did. Because you know why? Because he has the talent.
And because of the level of talent.
Yes.
Yeah. You jumping in on this, Rhino?
Yeah. I think if you look back, he made three big mistakes. One, he did not take the pay cut with the Broncos with understanding if I play well, I will make this money back and more. The second and third mistakes were when he met with the Seahawks and Ravens about a backup job. It just didn't go well to where a contract was offered. He should have bent over backwards to say, hey, if I could get into a camp with Pete Carroll or John Harbaugh and I'm the right teammate and I can lead, they will make a call for me in the offseason to get a starting job.
Yeah, it's good.
I think he underestimated the fact just how important it is in this league to be on a roster.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. I like the fact that he's working out. I understand this isn't necessarily on his terms, but there's a part of me that says at least he's getting a chance. At least there's somebody that is going to look at him. And I don't know if that brings closure to this whole story. And I'm not necessarily saying we should have closure to this whole story. It's bigger than that. But from a football perspective, I like the fact that NFL eyes are going to see him. One way or another. Again, it might not be ideal for him. It might not. Maybe it is manufactured by the NFL. You know what? At the end of the day, sometimes it doesn't matter how you get a chance. There are guys in this league that sleep outside facilities because people don't believe in them, and they get a chance and make teams, like the Cleveland Browns guy, right?
Correct.
So however you can get there, you get there. If you want it bad enough, and at least they're giving them that. Hey, we've got a lot more football to get to, but I'll keep you a couple minutes, so we'll go rapid fire. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. Who's the MVP, man?
Russell Wilson. I think winning a game like that in San Francisco, Lamar Jackson has a couple statement games left, so I would put Wilson just ahead of him right now.
How would you predict the Jaguars' schedule? You know what it looks like. They've got 7 left. What do you think Nick Foles and the Jags do down the stretch? Give me a record.
They're 4-5 right now. I think they can. I say they get to 9 wins, which probably won't be enough. They got the Bucs, the Falcons, the Colts twice. So, I think the next 2 weeks is going to tell the tale. They got to go up to Indianapolis, a Colts team that I saw 2 weeks ago that should have been beaten by the Broncos. Then they lose the Steelers and Dolphins. And then you go to Tennessee, which has always been a pain in the butt for this team.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got the Chargers in there as well, the Raiders. Hey, speaking of the Raiders, Chargers are, I was a little surprised at that outcome, but the Raiders won that game. Chiefs fall again. Who wins the AFC West?
I still think the Chiefs, because the Raiders, they should have won that game going away last week, but they just couldn't get out of their own way in terms of penalties. Ultimately, that's going to cost them a game against a better team. Then they should win this week at Cincinnati. Chiefs have a huge one in Mexico City on Monday. I just feel like if you line these two teams up, the Chiefs with Mahomes have the best player, so he should come out on top.
Yeah, that's fair enough, especially if he gets healthier and continues to get back in a groove, even though he looked really good the other day. It wasn't his fault. They lost the football game. One last one for you, and, I've just lost my train of thought.
Rams.
Oh, Rams. That's right. We were going to talk about Rams. If Austin figures people have figured out McVay, is that just fact now, or is it Goff?
Well, I'll meet Austin halfway. I think they figured out Jared Goff.
Okay.
He does not. I mean, in the Super Bowl last year, he looked clunky. All I got to say about the Rams is put in Bortles.
I love it. I'd like to see it happen. But hey, one other thing about the Rams in Jacksonville West, Dante Fowler Jr. is the guy they miss out of everybody right now more than anyone.
Yeah. And I talked to Dante for a little bit after the Rams-Broncos preseason game in August, and he was. And I've always liked him. He just made some bad decisions, but he's always been a good kid. I think he looked at that trade from the Rams, followed up by a 1-year deal, saying, "Hey, this is it. I have to, not commit stupid penalties. I cannot get in trouble off the field. I have to be a productive player. Then I can get a multi-year deal. So, you like it. You like it when some of these young guys do see the light.
Yes.
And I think he did after his trade. And I think he just needs to get away from the state of Florida.
Yeah, and by the way, that's going to turn into like tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars because of that.
Ryan, one more quick question regarding Jared Goff and the Rams here, because, I'm coming from the philosophy more that, this kind of falls on Sean McVay, but the reason I kind of say that is, do you think there's any other quarterback, and I get it, it's just like a theoretical question, it's kind of hard to answer, but do you think there's any other quarterback in the NFL right now that depends more on their head coach or offensive coordinator being successful than Jared Goff? So I guess long story short, is there more of a system quarterback than Jared Goff right now?
It's hard to think one off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bears are trying to make Trubisky into that, but he just hasn't made the kind of progress. The Rams are interesting because you still don't know the true story of what's going on with Todd Gurley. I mean, he had no touches in the fourth quarter. I mean, we know he has the bad knee that's not getting any better. That contract's going to be an albatross. So, when you look, maybe any non-first or second-year quarterback, all those young guys are going to be system guys. But once you get into your third, fourth year, you shouldn't be looking over to the coach with 20 seconds left on the play clock. Totally unimpressed with Goff.
Well, here's the deal. I'm gonna throw one more at you because Austin asked an awesome question yesterday. We have to highlight this when it happens. It doesn't always do this.
It's very rare,
so
Ryan,
we have
to highlight when I do.
Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post.
Positive reinforcement.
But he brought up, I thought this was fascinating. Now, the Rams are 5-4. And we're hoping they finish up 5-11 for the Jags so they get a higher draft pick. But Jags are 4-5. Which team would you actually rather be on right now for the last 7 games of the year?
I mean, the team that has a little bit more momentum right now are the Jaguars. The Rams are just the Rams have a double-edged sword. They're not playing well, and they're in a tough division because even Arizona is competitive. I think if the Rams and Bears on Sunday night is an NFC loser goes home games.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I think the Rams will maybe survive, but I don't think they're going to win enough games to make the playoffs.
All right, you got Minnesota. How much snow do you have out in Colorado?
It's all melted. We were up to 60 yesterday after 16 on Monday.
That's awesome. Take your cold medicine, man.
Mother Nature, stay in your lane and just pick one. All right? Jeez.
Hey, good hanging out with you. Thanks for joining us, man.
Okay, take care, fellas. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Ron.
That's Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post, formerly of the Florida Times Union. Always fun to hang out. We've had so much football to get to with Ryan. We haven't even talked wrestling lately.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a little balling and falling after this.
We got that. Okay.
Hey, it's that big of a deal to me, so it's going to be balling.
Wow, let's do it.
And hopefully it's going to be a guest picker one of these weeks, too.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. We got to make that happen.
I know we do. I'll reach out to him.
Another short week
Spoiler
for Austin.
Alert.
I never knew when we signed up Austin that he only works half the Fridays.
Then I'd be going to so many Hall of Fames and having so many fights. I know, Brent. What do you want from me, man? I'm sorry.
When we come back, we'll do a little ball and fall on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Cool temperatures continue through this evening, and overnight, mostly cloudy skies with temperatures dropping into the mid to upper 40s and then rising a little bit toward morning. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where you can get 20% off store-wide, including loose diamonds with special financing, only at Beards Diamonds.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks, and there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates, and you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They've been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you. Are you looking for the best wings around? I found the place. Listen up. Hey, everyone, it's Brent Martineau. Mr. Chubby's Wings is awesome. 2 locations, the West Side and in Fleming Island. They are a part of the community, too. Mr. Chubby's Wings wants to wish all of the high school teams good luck this fall. They've been supporting youth athletics for a decade. Get ready for the game at Mr. Chubby's. Celebrate the big win at Mr. Chubby's. Chub it up with the best wings around. Mr. Chubby's Wings on the West Side and in Fleming Island.
At Action News Jax, we're here for severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather, and that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
Attention men and women. If you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
When you owe IRS or state sales tax and can't pay, call J. David Tax Law for effective tax help. J. David Tax Law can stop IRS or state collection actions and protect you from financial ruin. Call J. David Tax Law for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777 or at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or a phone call away.
I'm Dr. Eric Kim at the Heekin Clinic. I've dedicated my career to helping eliminate joint pain many patients suffer every day. At the Heekin Clinic, we use the most advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques, including robotic-aided knee replacement, which has produced outstanding results for our patients. I'm excited to be part of the Heekin Clinic team and look forward to helping the patients in Northeast Florida live a pain-free life.
The Heekin Clinic, a full-service orthopedic surgical practice specializing in knees and hips. Log on and search for Heekin Clinic today.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. Thank you for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Everyone is loving our in-depth coverage of the Jaguars, the NFL, and all things sports. Another thing our listeners will love, your business. Let's work together and get you on the fastest growing sports station in Northeast Florida. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 904-245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Thanksgiving. It's all about being thankful for the good things in life, huh?
Yeah. Hey, boys, I got an idea. How about we start a new tradition by naming the things we're thankful for?
Okay, I'll start. I'm thankful that the house we just robbed had a ton of expensive jewelry and fine silverware.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm thankful that they had a big blue alarm instead of Safe Touch.
Now, why'd you have to mention them?
Well, I'm thankful we didn't have to deal with the Safe Touch two-way communicator or their 45-second or less response time. Boss, I'm just thankful that we've decided to stay away from Safe Touch houses, especially now that they have video monitoring.
Would you stop? You are ruining my thankfulness.
I mean, the best technology and the lowest price. It's just not fair. Hey, boss, pass the cranberry sauce, will you?
At Safe Touch, we don't claim to be the largest alarm company, just the best. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, owner of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Happy hump day. The Jags are ready to get back on the horse this weekend, and this case, it's a Colt. They play the Indianapolis Colts with a chance to pull even with their record in the division. Coach Marone knows that this will be a challenge.
They play extremely hard. Really good east to west, north to south, good up front. They make you earn everything that you have.
And this weekend, controversial quarterback Colin Kaepernick will be doing a workout for all 30 teams in Atlanta. It's to show his football readiness to see if anybody wants to sign him. The NFL is putting it on, and there will not only be drills, but an interview as well. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices, premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus with locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
The Stephen A. Smith Show.
I don't know what would make him think I would care about it. I don't give a damn whether I'm blocked on Instagram or not. Not like I tried to Instagram him directly. Ain't nobody thinking about trying to post something on his page.
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jag.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you obviously you try not to think about it, but it's obviously there. I knew it was going to be a tough decision for, whichever way it goes. But, I respect the decision they made, and we're all moving forward together in any way we can help the team. I think I proved that I can be a guy in this league for a long, long time, and I think they believe that. And there's obviously things that we're going to get better at, so that next time I do get my opportunity, I'll be ready and I'll be better, and we're all going to progress together.
And there it is right there. Bingo from Gardner Minshew. He did prove something. Mm-hmm. No doubt. 8-game sample proved something. Got a lot of believers and believe in himself. I didn't think he already said that. But belief in this organization, belief in the fan base, and probably belief on a lot of tape for the rest of the league. So that covers you in every facet. And I'm not sitting here saying, well, they're going to trade away Gardner Minshew. They're going to whatever. No. But I think people believe that's a great first impression. Because when you start on the other side, it's an uphill battle. When people don't think you can play and you're trying to chase that, hard. When people say, whoa, this kid can play, that's a great starting point, and then who knows where it goes from there. But you're going to get opportunities in the NFL to prove yourself again when you start off and people say, this kid can play in the league.
Yeah, listen, teams don't forget, whether it's the Jaguars or any other NFL team there, they understand what that dude's capable of, right? So that's always going to be there. That's always going to be the starting trend. But now, to be fair, that is a pro and it's a con, because at the end of the day, too, you have to live up those expectations every single time you come in a football game now, right? So it is a pro and con, but it's good to have got that base level of where Gardner Minshew's at right now.
Hey, I'm going to do Ballin' and Fallin'. We ripped through some topics as well. We even stay in your late. We got a little bit of everything going on. But my Ballin' is going to be for all the kids today that are signing, a lot of early signing kind of days, not for football. It's like it's a day of signing for everything else.
Okay.
And a lot of kids tweeting out and those dreams coming true. And I always say parents smiling big time. So congratulations to all the high school kids out there that are getting to play that next level sport. And then I always say this. Now, listen, you played at Murray State. Mm-hmm. I played at Division II school and was average as the day is long. But I always feel like if you love to play, go play somewhere. Yeah. Right? You don't have to play at Florida, Florida State, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, all those places. Yeah, that'd be great if you can.
Yeah.
God bless you if you can. But if you can't, there's a lot of schools in this country that play sports and to continue that career and keep playing because it runs out, unless you're the home run derby champ and score some points in the pro basketball with the Giants like me and, those kind of things.
Well, and nice little name drop there.
I was wondering how long I was going to have to go on until you finally got that.
No, I was letting you go to. I thought you had more. I thought you had more on the docket. I thought you had more on your resume. But no,
I probably do.
Well, it's like you said, like National Signing Day, Brent. So that means there's a lot of kids out there that are getting scholarships, and that can't be understated. Just how important and how big of a deal it is to celebrate and just admire just getting that scholarship, getting your education paid for. It is a big deal. And I get it. Sometimes people want to say, oh, it's a piece of paper, yada, yada, yada. But no, getting a college education, it is still a big deal, at least in my eyes. And listen, I hope everybody gets paid one day to play college football or college sports in general. But never forget that college scholarship means a lot too as well.
Yeah, but also don't forget that it doesn't mean it's the end of you haven't made it. Right?
No, for sure. No,
you still
you're
have
just
more
getting
work to
started,
do
man.
Because
you're just getting started.
I will say, at any level, the culture shock, if you will, moment, at least even for me, I was like, oh, I'm going to go play out here in Ohio. I mean, how good can they play in baseball in Ohio, blah, blah, blah. Well, everybody's good.
Yeah.
And so you think people on your high school team are pretty good, and you might have some competition there, or your travel team. Well, by the time you get to the collegiate level, and especially if you're really going high, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's good. Like in the big schools, I think what's hard to comprehend for a kid that got recruited and is really a supreme athlete and is playing, say, Power 5 sports, it's hard to comprehend that everybody that's going in there was the best player on their team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's like my defensive line at Murray State always said to me, he's like, there's a million guys that are 6'6" and athletic out there. What's going to separate you from everybody else is your work ethic.
And by the way, I'm not sure I agree with him. Are there a million guys that are 6'6" and athletic?
I think it was kind of a figure of speech, but
I think
can name a
6'6" and
bunch,
walking
man.
and chewing gum is tough.
Well, you're not 6'6", Brent, so you wouldn't know. My balling real quick. Wrestling news, man. We kind of teased it a little bit, but CM Punk is back. Last night for WWE Backstage, which is kind of just like a wrestling talk show that airs on Fox Sports 1, I believe, at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So it's kind of a later night show. But CM Punk out of nowhere makes his debut. They dropped his theme music. He enters, much to the surprise of the other co-hosts there, and he said that he will be on the show next week. So it is safe to say that CM Punk is at least back in some kind of capacity with wrestling. He's not signed to the WWE roster, but he is with Fox now talking about wrestling.
Interesting.
Very
Did you
interesting.
see that move coming?
No, not. I'll be honest with you, not at all. There's rumors out there that he tried out for the position and things like that, but then it kind of went cold. And I'm very surprised. I'm surprised that All Elite Wrestling, because he has friends that wrestle there. So, and his friends are kind of quote unquote running the show. They help Tony Khan out. So the fact that he picked WWE, I think it's a shock to a lot of people, but good for him, man. I mean, at the end of the day, he's making decisions based off happiness and not money, and obviously he's happy doing this, so more power to him.
More power to him. Go ahead and do your falling.
Well, it's probably the same thing for us.
I'm gonna bounce different. I can do it.
Yeah,
the Purple Aces.
So the University of Kentucky, #1 in the nation, losing to the Evansville Purple Aces. #1, I bet half of you people can't even tell me where Evansville even is.
Come on. Kuz. Is Kuz in there?
Oh, wait till he comes back, because that's a good indicator.
Yeah.
West Kuz, where Evansville is. But yeah, obviously, and I get it. It's basketball, upsets happen, but man, I know Evansville. And Kuz, we got a trivia question for you real quick. Try to help me prove a point or maybe prove Brent's point. Where is Evansville?
I want to say North Carolina. Where is it?
A little bit. It's in Indiana.
Close enough.
Kuz, not everything is in Philadelphia.
I didn't say Philly.
Oh, Kuz, I love it, man. I set you up and you knocked it down.
Did. You
Stockton
knocked that out of the park.
to Malone. But yeah, so anyway, University, it was Evansville University at University of Evansville. Whatever
I think
it is.
it's Evansville University.
Evansville University.
I did not know they were the Purple Aces.
Neither did I. I don't know what a Purple Ace even is.
There's two parts of this story that are amazing for me.
Hit me with them.
When I saw the score, I didn't really watch much of the game. When I came back and saw the score, and I was like, okay, that must have been one of these preseason tournaments on a neutral site court. That was at Rupp Arena.
Oh, yeah.
That was in Lexington.
Yeah.
Kentucky lost on their home floor to Evansville as the #1 ranked team in the country. I mean, I know it wasn't Chaminade, Virginia, but holy cow, it felt that way a little bit. I mean, Evansville can't be that bad, but I think they won 11 games last year, Evansville did. So that was wild, and I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. The other part of Walter McCarty, I thought the cool part was Walter McCarty, who played for Kentucky, beats Kentucky. And I vaguely remember Walter McCarty. He won a 96 championship with Kentucky. And I think after that, I believe he played for the Boston Celtics. And I think he wore 0. See, Kuz, his knowledge of NBA, the Drive and Dish podcast doesn't go back that far.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he wore number 0.
Okay.
Playing for the Celtics, Walter McCarty, I think.
That's a deep dive right there.
It would
I like
be
that.
a deep remember, especially since I was in college around that time in the late 90s, but I think that was the case.
Well, and a little third follow-up, too, real quick. So last night, as that went down, Murray State was taking on Tennessee.
Oh.
And Murray State at halftime was up by 9 to Tennessee. And it looked like the Murray State Racers were going to drive to a victory, in which case I was going to come on this show tomorrow and brag about Murray State being the best basketball team in the state of Kentucky. But now we can't because Tennessee ended up beating them by 19 in the second half.
Turn on the gas.
Yeah, turn on the gas real quick.
Are they any good, Murray State, after John Morant left?
Yeah, there are some building pieces there. Tevin, I mean, these are random names, but the guy, Tevin Brown's pretty good. But I think they're still expected to compete with Belmont. It's always Belmont, Murray State, right?
Yeah.
Like those are the two guys in the OVC. They're expected to compete, but obviously when you lose a guy like John Morant, you're not going to be as good as last year. Simple as that.
Okay, South Alabama, by the way, almost beat Auburn last night.
Oh, wow.
And they're in the
Bruce
A-Sun
Pearl,
now.
right? Yeah.
No, North Alabama's in the A-Sun, sorry. South Alabama, though, almost beat Auburn, who went to the Final Four last year.
Yep.
Now, they lost a lot, but they went to the Final Four, and they almost beat them. So, a lot of almost upsets, and then the one big upset yesterday. Okay, my fallen, it's going to be everybody that still believes in Alabama.
Brent can't let this go, man. He gets a little hate on Twitter, and he's bringing the wrath. All right, let's hear it.
It's not a wrath. The one thing that we're not talking about with Alabama is the Tua health or not. We're not talking enough about it.
True.
So everybody that says Alabama's Alabama, they got 25 5-stars, and they've got Nick Saban, and they've won for 10 years. And, well, you know what? They also have a quarterback that might not be healthy. And part of the reason you believe in Alabama is because they can now score 35 a game. And, well, they might not have that guy at 100%. And he didn't look 100%. Now, they threw it all over the yard. He ends up throwing for, I think, 418. But, again, folks, I mean, they were in chase mode much of that game. I thought Jason Fitz hit it. And it was very hard to explain to people on Twitter. But I thought your ears ring a little bit when he mentioned the ball control, the game control, where he said actually the metrics on that game against LSU show that they got more blown out for the entirety of the game than even the national championship game against Clemson. I mean, that kind of speaks to my point of I didn't really feel like they were in it that much. And yes, did they have a chance late? Yes. But for about 55 minutes, I felt like LSU was in supreme control of that game. I also believe this. A lot of people ask you, okay, does Alabama or Minnesota? Okay, again, if I'm going to bet my house, I think Alabama. But I just watched Evansville beat Kentucky, and I watched Minnesota beat Penn State.
It's not college basketball, though, man.
No, but I watched Minnesota beat Penn State.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say, that Minnesota couldn't beat Alabama. Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 times Alabama probably would win because you know why? Because then I would fall back to their Alabama. But my point is I just don't know how good they are this year. I said to you or I said to somebody, I actually think Florida this year, the way they are, and what I've seen from Alabama and watched that game, I think Florida could beat Alabama as a 2-loss team. I do. I think they actually, this year, if they were to play Alabama, again, I'm not guaranteeing you a win. I'm saying I think they could beat them. And I would not have said that at any time. I think Georgia would beat Alabama.
One thing. So
everybody who's saying Minnesota versus Alabama and wondering why Georgia's ahead of Alabama, I will tell you without hesitation that I think Georgia would beat Alabama.
Okay.
I think they're a better football team than Alabama. That's not even close, in my opinion.
But you still think Alabama would beat Minnesota?
Again, if you asked me to put money on it, I would
Okay.
say.
My question to you is this, and we kind of touched on it a little bit yesterday. But in your opinion, do you think Alabama made a mistake by going with the trend and being the cool kids and going with the spread offense? Or do you think they were better when they were just that pro style, kind of boring, played like really good defense, ran the ball a little bit more, and just shut teams down? Like, do you think, number one, I guess, is that still around in college football where you can succeed with that? And number two, should they have stuck with that?
Well, here's the deal. I would say no, they didn't make a mistake because they have won a lot of football games, including, I think, a national championship when they've made that move.
Yeah, but okay.
They've not made a mistake. I mean, they still have one loss this year. What my main thing here for folks to understand is I can't tell you evidence-wise how good Alabama is. Because I just can't measure them.
But you're going to find out when they play Auburn.
And we will find out.
Yeah.
You're right, to your point from the beginning of the show. But I don't think they have – no. So I don't think they made a mistake. Mm-hmm. And does anybody else play that way? You know who plays that way?
Utah?
No.
Oh.
Well, yes, they do too. Mm-hmm. The Georgia Bulldogs play that way.
Yeah.
The Georgia Bulldogs play the way Alabama used to play. Mm-hmm. But they've also proven that they can play the other way. They beat Oklahoma a few years back in the Final Four. Yeah. Because they were able to go shootout with Oklahoma. They were able to do it. Okay, now you're going to say, well, that's Oklahoma's defense. Well, wait a minute. Alabama's, their defense just gave up 46. Mm-hmm. So I believe Georgia can play multiple styles, just like Alabama had over the years. If they needed to score 40 in a game in a shootout because somebody got them on defense, they were able to do that. But Georgia probably is more like the old Alabama, and we've seen they control games. They don't need to go score 40 because they're usually beating people, other than South Carolina, of course. I think we have a phone call on the line. I'm guessing it's an Alabama fan.
I can't wait.
Here we go. What's up, man? JC, is that who it is? JC? What's up, JC?
Yes, sir. JC Sports. So I was just watching, and I heard you say Georgia could beat Alabama. Did you really just say that?
I did just say that. There's no doubt in my mind they would beat Alabama.
Now I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm a Miami fan. I know we suck. But here's the thing. So South Carolina beat Georgia. Alabama will hang 70 on South Carolina. This is the same South Carolina that got blown out by Appalachian State, right?
Well, not blown out, but yes, beaten by Appalachian State, yes.
So here's what I'm going to say. Watch Georgia versus Auburn, right? Now, this is an interesting game. And when you see Georgia show against Auburn, you're going to rethink about what you just said. Because here's why Georgia's going to struggle versus Auburn. So Georgia fans think just because they put points up on Florida's defense and whatnot, that they're going to blow out Auburn. That's not true. If you go back and you watch these past Auburn games, when you go back and watch the Georgia-Auburn game, every time Auburn became a one-point underdog in those games, they won. And the thing is, Georgia isn't explosive on offense. When you look at Georgia's offense for most of the year, Georgia fans have been wanting to fire the offensive coordinator, and all Georgia fans say is fire the offensive coordinator. Kirby Smart needs to get a new offensive coordinator. Oh, Jake Fromm isn't a good quarterback. He's a check-down Charlie. Jake Fromm is basically Dak Prescott. So when you put how average Georgia's offense is versus Alabama's defense, yeah, Alabama's defense is not great, but at the end of the day, Alabama can outscore anybody in the nation. You go back and look at that LSU game, Tua Tagovailoa was heavily injured. In the fourth quarter, dude was literally limping, still throwing touchdowns. So, I mean, Georgia's defense is good and all, but Alabama's offense is one of the best offenses in the nation with a healthy Tua. So if you're telling me a healthy Tua would lose to a Georgia whose offense has been pretty much average at this point, and their offensive coordinator, Georgia fans have been saying they want their offensive coordinator to be fired. So if Georgia gets into a shootout with Alabama, they're not going to win. Even a close game, I would take Alabama to win because Alabama is just a better team talent-wise. And then you got didn't Georgia lose to a backup quarterback last year in the SEC championship and Jalen Hurts? And then plus Georgia doesn't really have a lot of wide receivers. Basically, the whole wide receiving core, besides Luke Cager, is inexperienced, really. All Georgia does is run the football. When you look at championship caliber teams, smashing off football doesn't win championships, and it doesn't beat Alabama. Look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin gets overhyped every single year because everybody thinks Wisconsin's going to win the national championship. Smashing off football doesn't win national championships. What wins national championships is not just having a great defense, but an offense that can put up 40 points. When you look at a team like Oklahoma, Alabama, and LSU this year, right? Alabama went to the playoffs last year. Not only, even though their defense wasn't that good, that got into the playoffs. When you look at the top 5 offenses in college football over the last 5 seasons, almost every team that's in the top 5 was in the college football playoffs. But the team that not only had the good offense but the better defense won the national championship. So will Georgia beat Alabama? I don't think so. Even though they have a good defense, I don't think they could keep up Alabama scoring-wise.
JC, awesome call, man. I appreciate it. Thanks. We got to run, but that was fantastic. Couple of real things. I'd love to go back and forth with them, but we don't have the time to do
look
it.
What you did now, Brent.
I know, but here's the problem. Here's the thing, right? With Alabama, you have to bring up last year at some point. If you're going to give me an Alabama mention, you have to. Also, what he said is healthy Tua.
Yeah.
If there's right now, we can admit there's not a healthy Tua, so we can't just assume that he's going to be healthy at any point right now. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a gimpy Tua.
Yeah.
And the other thing is about their offense is really good, but what would the LSU offense, which is really good, the offense of Alabama and offense like Oklahoma, be against this Georgia defense? This Georgia defense hasn't allowed 20 points, man, in the game.
And you know what? And I'm going to agree with our caller here in the fact that this isn't the old school SEC anymore where you got to play stellar defense.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's not how it is, Brent. And LSU's changing their game, and guess what? They're number one in the nation right now because why? They put up a lot of points. And I think when you're talking about the SEC and you're talking about Georgia and Alabama, they are going to be track meets, and it's just the way it's going to be. And I know what you're saying Georgia defense is pretty solid. They got a good defense. Well, LSU's DBU, and look at how many points Alabama dropped against them. So with those things considered and the fact that Alabama's got 3 stud NFL caliber receivers, I do agree with the caller and think that Alabama would absolutely kill Georgia.
No, kill. Jeez. And that's the caller that called out Wisconsin, and now you're saying Alabama would kill Georgia?
Hey, I'm just calling like it is, man.
Hey, we got like 2 minutes left in the show, so you can stay in your lane today because we got Charlie.
Charlie, you did. You get all these Alabama people calling in.
Is Charlie an Alabama fan too? I don't know. What's up, Charlie?
No, what's up, guys? No, I'm actually a Georgia fan. I try to stay away from being the homer type, but there's a lot of great points that caller made. Yeah, no, I'm trying, man. I'm trying, but. I think he made a lot of good points, but, a lot of things like you guys have probably mentioned, Georgia hasn't given up a rushing touchdown this year on defense. They're averaging, I think they're giving up like 74 yards a game on the ground. And, like you guys said, both LSU and Alabama have, elite wide receivers, first-round picks everywhere. But, there's just something always about these big games, especially in a championship game, like what's going to happen in Atlanta in a couple weeks. Teams always rise to the occasion. If you look at the games that Kirby's lost, taking away 2016, Georgia's never really – it's never because – well, I guess you could say maybe South Carolina this year because they're not a good football team. It's unexcusable. But, LSU last year, Auburn in 17 on the Plains, the national championship and the SEC championship in 17 and 18. They never got beat because the other team was flat out better than them. They've got beat to, a boneheaded coaching decision, a fake punt. We always argue Tyler Simmons was onside on the block punt in the national championship game, and 2nd and 26 in overtime would have never happened. But, like my grandfather always said, and I'll let you guys go, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, every day would be Christmas. Y'all take care. Have a good evening.
Man. We appreciate the call. And, and really the way college football is set up, it is ifs and buts.
It is. Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's a great debate. I can't believe you sided with JC even after he ripped Wisconsin.
Hey, they got beat by Illinois. What do you want me to say, man? I'm just sitting here just like, yeah, he makes some good points. He's basically put on a TED Talk for 10 minutes about why Alabama would beat Georgia, and the guy made some good points. And Wisconsin Badgers, I love you, but yeah, you're not going to national championship.
By the way, good calls. JC might be the top call of the year.
I know. Well, it's been lonely without – I'm not even going to say his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Hey, save your stay in your lane for tomorrow.
Sounds
tomorrow
good.
we're going to be ice skating.
I'm going skating tomorrow.
We're going skating.
I'm
We're
playing
going to
some
Jacksonville
hockey.
Iceman. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks
Bring
for
your ice skates,
listening on ESPN 690. Love you, Alabama. Roll Tide.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back.